Apocalypse ruined plants vs. zombies. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 200. Seeing the situation gradually open up, Su Lin felt like an indestructible giant. On his strong body, he carried 2 Gatling guns on his shoulders. One was fire, and the other was thunder. Haha. Cool. Yan Wu laughed. This was much more exciting than the previous battle. Just now on the ground, he had to dodge the attacks of the giant insects, while waiting for an opportunity to move. He couldn't use any fire abilities that needed to be charged. It's different now. Standing on the shoulders of the armored titan, he has a very high field of vision, and the armored titan is like a human turret. No matter what, he will protect the 2 people on his shoulders. Yan Wu here is having a good time. Lei Tao is a little different. It's also the first time he has come into such close contact with these giant insects. When he saw these flexible, powerful, defensive, and combat intelligent insects, he felt a little scared. For him, his lightning ability is the strongest spear. No matter what kind of defense, or what kind of thing, in front of his lightning, it will be pierced. But there have been several times. No, it can even be said that most of the time, he has no way to kill the giant insect in 1 second. Often he has to launch a second round of offensive to kill the giant insect. This is obviously beyond his imagination. Fortunately, I moved the entire Thunder Eagle Kingdom here. Otherwise I really don't know if I can eat these giant insects. If we don't completely annihilate them here, the consequences will be disastrous. Lei Tao gritted his teeth. He thought of a possibility and immediately asked, Su Lin, are these insects from that Phoenician city? 9 out of 10. What's wrong? You said. Are these in front of us all the insects? Hearing this, the armored giant hesitated, and even his movement stiffened a little. He really hadn't thought about this problem. When Lei Tao asked this, he thought seriously for a while. I'm not sure if there are any more in Fashion City, and I just met an ant-man who can speak human language. Damn, it's a human-shaped ant, and he is the commander. If possible, we must capture it alive. Yeah, I think so too. What are you talking about? Yan Wu asked in surprise. He was just beaten by the giant insect. Now he can finally beat the giant insect, and Yan Wu is in high spirits. Why are the 2 people next to him still hesitating? Yan Wu, you don't understand. Su Lin swallowed his saliva, and he also thought of a possibility. A possibility that even Lei Tao panicked. Huh. Yes, Yan Wu, if you don't understand, let's not talk about the number of these giant insects. Are the giant insects we see now all the property of Fashion City? Lei Tao was a little confused. There is another question, that is, do you know why insects are terrible? Su Lin also added, why? Insects are invincible in terms of their size, agility, strength, and speed. Lions, tigers, elephants, and even humans with guns are no match for them. The giant insects we are facing now are like this. Yeah. Yan Wu nodded. No matter how hard we try, we can't break their defense with the bee gun. We still have to rely on my fire ability. That's fine. These insects have wisdom, but we still overlooked one thing. Su Lin swallowed his saliva. The terrible possibility is the reproduction speed of insects. Even if there are only a few insects in Phoenician City now, it only takes a little time for them to reproduce an overwhelming army of insects again. What? Even the arrogant Yan Wu understood what it meant instantly. Isn't this saying that, even if the threat in front of us is resolved, it is useless to resolve the army of insects in front of us? Not long after, the giant insects will be able to form the same army again, and continue to attack? Question mark? By then, where would Chunfeng City still have so much fighting power to resist? Once it becomes a war of attrition, humans will surely lose. Forget it, don't think too much at this time. Su Lin took a deep breath. Anyway, let's get rid of the insects in front of us first, and then try to capture the Ant-Man alive. We will definitely be able to get information from him. Absolutely. Lei Tao also nodded. I just happen to have a superpower who can torture people, but I don't know if such a superpower can be used on the Ant-Man. Let's catch him first. The three of them also reached a consensus directly. Don't think too much now. Let's solve the difficulties in front of us first, and then try to catch the Ant-Man. You go down first. My state will not last long, and there is a limit to how many times I can use it. Next, I will fight side by side with you as a human body. Su Lin was a little helpless. After all, the time for the use of the giant's power is about to expire, and he himself has no way. Lei Tao raised his eyebrows and said immediately, okay, before that, let me lend you a hand. After that, Lei Tao jumped up from a high altitude, turned around, stretched out his hands, and released the power of thunder towards the armored titan. Strangely, after hitting the armored titan, these thunder powers did not cause the expected damage, but just gently attached to it, making it a thunder giant. I'll do it too. Seeing this effect, Yan Wu also followed suit. However, his control of supernatural powers was obviously not as good as Lei Tao's. At least Su Lin succeeded in attaching after feeling the scorching of the flames. Thunder and fire armored titan. Following the trend, the armored titan roared. At the same time, he vented the pain of being burned by the flames. Then, he rushed directly into the pile of giant insects and began to destroy wantonly. The bugs were also in trouble. The armored titan's defense was ridiculously strong and its strength was great. Now it was good. With the power of thunder and fire, they were either electrocuted and grinning, or burned and screaming. Damn it. Ant-Man, who was standing in the rear to give orders, gritted his teeth. He glared at the evil giant fiercely. I wanted to leave it to the next city, but it seems that it won't work. Then die, human. As soon as the voice fell, Ant-Man waved his hand, and the ground shook. The surface seemed to be torn open. No, it was knocked open with a big hole. A huge monster drilled out directly from the ground and hit the armored titan. That scene, people who happened to stand under the creature only felt a covering the sky and the sun. Even the sky was blocked. It was a long centipede. About 100 meters long. 5 meters thick. Chapter 201. A giant centipede appears. It only took one move. The giant centipede only used one collision to knock the armored titan to the ground. It flew several meters away. When the armored titan slowly stood up, the armor on its body gradually broke apart, which already explained one thing. The giant centipede was able to break the defense of the armored titan. The behemoths on both sides stood opposite each other. From a distance, the armored titan looked like a kindergarten child. Su Lin gave up concentrating on looking at the opponent in front of him. This behemoth-like opponent in front of him. It's funny to say, among the people present, the smallest is human beings. Upward, giant insects. Upward again, the armored titan. In the end, the one at the top of the size is still a giant insect, the giant centipede. There's about 1 minute left. Only by turning into a colossal titan can we contend with this behemoth. Damn, this is not a centipede, it's so long. But if it turns into a colossal titan, the heat wave it releases when it appears will definitely affect others. Just from the size, we can see how the armored titan can be a match for the centipede. Only the colossal titan can contend with it. But the heat wave that the colossal titan brings when it appears will definitely affect others. Dilemma. It's also strange, since there is this centipede's killer, why wait until now to use it? Is there any restriction on using this centipede? Just as Su Lin was thinking about it, the centipede took decisive action. It didn't care what Su Lin was thinking. Seeing that Su Lin had killed so many of its compatriots, it has been impatient for a long time. Finally, after waiting for the order to go out, it planned to show its strength. Only to see, the centipede rushed towards the armored titan again at an incredible speed. This is totally unimaginable speed. The big centipede was not moving on the ground at all, but was floating directly in the air, like a flying dragon, rushing towards the armored titan. Seeing that he couldn't dodge, the armored titan had to stretch out his hands directly, trying to resist this wave of attacks. Boom. Hiss. The armored titan was knocked away dozens of meters again. But this time, the armored titan was obviously not as embarrassed as before. He used his hands to firmly grasp the head of the big centipede. Although the armor on its body had been completely shattered. However, the armored titan finally seized the initiative. The left hand was still tightly grasped. The freed right hand was swung into a fist. It hit the big centipede's head heavily. Peng, peng, bang, several times in a row. Su Lin felt that his hands were almost numb. But the big centipede didn't feel anything at all. The huge compound eyes looked at the armored titan coldly. It seemed to be saying, "What, little brother? That's it?" With a tail swing, the centipede swung its 100-meter long body directly and kicked the armored titan away with its countless big feet. Damn it. After a connection, the armored titan had to temporarily retreat a few steps. How about this trick? If he continued to defend like this, he would only wait for death. Su Lin decided to take the initiative. With a boost, the armored titan rushed directly towards the centipede. The ground was even more vibrating. This tonnage is naturally earth-shaking. Needless to say, the centipede is naturally not that agile. It is impossible to dodge. However, the centipede did not seem to dodge and looked at the armored titan who dared to attack him. In a trance, it seemed to smile. It was as if it was mocking something. Bang! When the right foot of the armored titan stepped heavily on the ground, the flames wrapped around it. Then he leaped up with the power of the flame, exploding. The armored titan, who pounced forward, clenched his right fist. Lightning sizzled on his fist. This was a joint attack of Yang Wu, Lei Tao, and Su Lin. The big centipede was stunned. It also sensed the incredible power and unimaginable destructive power from this thunderous fist. That's right. Space was faintly cracked. This punch was terrible. Want to escape? You can't escape. Bang! A heavy punch came down. After a dazzling light, the big centipede was actually hit dozens of meters away. Moreover, its head was blown up. The whole face was distorted, and even its brain was exposed. Just when Su Lin was secretly excited, who would have thought that this big centipede would actually shed its skin directly? The entire head shell, along with the 100-meter long carapace, was completely shed. The shed carapace fell to the ground, leaving deep pits. After the molting was successful, the centipede was unharmed. This made Su Lin stunned. His confident attack was so easily resolved. There is no law. However, Su Lin had no way to continue fighting. The duration of the giant's power has expired. With a ray of light, the armored giant disappeared. Instead, it was Su Lin. Su Lin slowly descended from the air. When he saw such a big giant disappear out of thin air, the centipede was stunned. Originally, after the molting was successful, it wanted to continue fighting. It had to ravage the giant anyway to get revenge, right? But it didn't expect that the giant disappeared directly. While the centipede was surprised, the ant-man behind it was directly confused. Centipede vs giant. It was originally an eye-catching battle. Not only the human side's attention was all on this. The same is true for the ant-man. When he saw the armored titan disappear, he thought the centipede had won a complete victory and was happy from the bottom of his heart. But when he saw the figure in the air, the figure slowly falling down, Ant-Man was stunned. Isn't this person the one who made a big fuss in the base in my mother's memory? At that time, he set the base on fire. Fortunately, my mother and our race are blessed with good fortune, otherwise, we would have died in that sea of fire. Centipede. Ant-Man roared, that's the person. Do you remember? The centipede hesitated for a moment and immediately reacted. Thinking back to the past, it was still it that went through great pains to drill through the ground directly, detonated the groundwater, and thus put out the fire, saved the entire base, and then saved the queen ant. It's really a mixture of new and old grudges. If the centipede could speak, I'm afraid he would have cursed on the spot. However, it also vented his anger with its actual actions. Although it has become smaller and difficult to catch. But the centipede had already firmly imprinted Su Lin's breath in his mind. Even in a sea of people, he could find him accurately. Su Lin naturally didn't know that he had such a blood feud with these giant insects. For him, now is plant time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 202, The Great Sage Equaling Heaven, Sun Wukong. If I continue to use the power of giants, it would be a bit foolish. Only the colossal titan can confront the giant centipede head on. But obviously, with such a dense crowd, it is impossible to transform into a colossal titan. Other types of giants are no match for the giant centipede. So after thinking about it, I can only use plant possession. Just as Su Lin was thinking about what type of plant to use, there was a burst of pressure from the sky in the distance, and even the sky was gloomy. I looked up. It turned out to be a giant centipede. The giant centipede was rushing over, and it seemed to be targeting Su Lin. Damn, it's targeting me. Su Lin's mouth twitched. Under such a threat. For a moment, everyone around Su Lin turned into birds and beasts, and scattered in fear. They originally wanted to seek the protection of the armored titan, but they watched the giant turn back into Su Lin. They wanted to take advantage of the gap in the battle to trap him. The danger has come before the almost is caught. Looking around, after confirming that this is the belly of the base camp and the number of giant insects is relatively small, Su Lin took a deep breath. Can't retreat. This can be said to be the final battle of this war. People are all trembling under the majesty of the big centipede. And with the disappearance of the giant, the morale of the stink bugs has been completely ignited, and they all made a creepy grinding sound, which can be said to be sharpening knives to kill pigs and sheep. The big centipede rushed forward in a phase, aiming at the tiny figure on the ground, and directly hit it. Boom. It was like a meteorite hitting the earth. The ground was covered with dust. Even the ground was shaking frequently. When the smoke dissipated, what came into view was just an upside down onion. The head of the big centipede hit it firmly, and then I don't know why it stopped there. If the big centipede's trunk was not still floating in the air, constantly swinging, I'm afraid everyone would think that the big centipede is dead. The big centipede didn't want to move, but it suddenly couldn't move. No matter how hard it tried, it couldn't go any further. Although its body was so small that it could be completely ignored by the big centipede. But the big centipede also opened its compound eyes. It really saw Su Lin, who made it grit its teeth in hatred. But no matter how hard the big centipede tried, it couldn't crush him directly. Take a closer look. Transparent shields appeared on Su Lin's body. Nuts. Plant possession. It was these transparent shields that protected Su Lin from the big centipede. The big centipede was stunned. If the armored giant just now could withstand his attack, then the big centipede would have endured it. It was so big and had so many shields. What about now? A black dot that was so black. It was so small that the big centipede felt that it couldn't see Su Lin. Trying to stop a chariot with a mantis arm, he actually blocked it. As if being humiliated, the big centipede let out a sharp roar. It attacked Su Lin again and again. In fact, every phase rushed directly smashed all the shields. Fortunately, Nut's shield has a very strong self-healing ability. Even if it is shattered, it can be restored again. And in this repeated process of shattering and restoring, Su Lin barely resisted the attack of the big centipede. People who don't know would think that something is wrong with this big centipede. It always retracts its body and then launches the attack again, and again. Is it really a bit stubborn? Su Lin clenched his teeth. He knew that, although it was barely a tie now, he could continue to defend like this, thereby consuming the big centipede's physical strength. But who knows what will happen next? Especially now that the big centipede's attack is still relatively ordinary. It is just using the most ordinary collision attack. If there is any special ability or a charged attack, Su Lin really has no way to guarantee that the nut shield can hold up. Or in other words, the current situation is just so barely. Su Lin can only barely resist the attack of the giant centipede. Once the recovery speed of the nut shield is a little slower, or the attack speed of the giant centipede is a little faster, then Su Lin must be the one who dies. I can't go on like this, Su Lin roared. Taking advantage of the gap between the giant centipede's attacks, he used the second plant possession again. Boom boom boom. Or thunder fell from the sky and hit the giant centipede. After temporarily repelling it, dark clouds appeared in the sky. Seeing the iconic thunder and lightning before the giant appeared, the centipede also hesitated for a moment. But it's a pity. This time, it's not a giant. The dark clouds continued to accumulate, as if they were accumulating some earth-shaking energy. The big centipede, or rather, the thunder that everyone expected, did not appear. Instead, what broke out from the layers of dark clouds at dawn was actually a stick that pierced the sky. This stick smashed down directly. Of course, the target was not the big centipede. If it really hit the big centipede, it would be easy to dodge just by the thickness of the stick. Peng. The thick stick fell directly on the ground. It fell next to Su Lin. It felt like this thick stick was sent by the sky, directly stabbing the ground, and it was the sky that attacked the ground. And being attacked by the sky, the ground seemed to respond, and it made waves of dragon roars. No, it was a roar like a beast. This kind of grinning, like a beast-like roar, was also released by Su Lin. At this time, Su Lin was tightly wrapped by a black and red shadow. In the darkness, only his pupils could be seen clearly, which were a pair of eyes full of scarlet blood. He staggered towards the long stick in front of him. The moment his hand touched the long stick, the black and red fog on his body was directly dispelled. A golden light enveloped his head and turned directly into an ornament on his forehead. A red cloak, with 2 long pattern decorations on his head, wearing a set of golden armor, stepping on a pair of red boots. Golden hoop retract. With an order, this long stick suddenly shrank and turned into a normal length stick. It was just the length, but the top was not ordinary. The whole body exuded an indescribable sense of oppression. The surface was golden, and the 2 sides were carved with layers of cloud patterns, giving a feeling of golden light. Golden hoop. This outfit is exactly the great sage equal to heaven, Sun Wukong. Chapter 203, Full Fire. This is exactly the plant possession ability of the Kiwi, transformed into the great sage Sun Wukong. That is the omnipotent Sun Wukong who made a big fuss in the heavenly palace. Duration, 15 minutes. This can also be regarded as one of Su Lin's strongest plant possession abilities at this stage. When Su Lin transformed into Sun Wukong and held the golden hoop in his hand, the big centipede hesitated. It felt a terrible pressure from Su Lin's tiny body. Su Lin, holding the golden hoop, also slowly rose into the air. A cloud flew by and directly dragged Su Lin, soaring up and sending him to the big centipede. Since he has been possessed by the invincible and invincible Sun Wukong, then he must hurry up and make a big fuss. Bug, don't think that this is the end. Su Lin roared, and then rode on the somersault cloud, and rushed up directly. The big centipede was obviously still in shock, and hadn't reacted yet. By the time it reacted, it was too late. At this time, Su Lin had already rushed to the front with the golden stick in his hand. Then, he jumped up on the somersault cloud. He swung the golden hoop and smashed it. The big centipede thought it was just an ordinary stick. But he didn't expect that when the golden stick was about to hit him. Suddenly, this small stick actually became longer and thicker. It became a big stick about 100 meters long and about 5 meters thick. Su Lin also specially made the golden stick as thick as the big centipede. The feeling of such a big stick hitting it. For the big centipede, that feeling was like the sky falling down, and he was just hit. It was smashed so hard that his head was bleeding. The shell on his body was all shattered. And the big centipede was like a bird that had lost its wings and was smashed to the ground by the golden stick. Peng. A long deep pit appeared on the ground. Fortunately, the people on the ground ran fast. Otherwise, they would have been crushed to death. Of course, Su Lin's battle was not over yet. He also retracted the golden stick to its normal size. With his current physique, he couldn't control such a long and thick golden hoop. With a brisk step, Su Lin once again rode on the somersault cloud and rushed towards the big centipede paralyzed on the ground. The golden stick in his hand was spinning and tumbling. It seemed that he was going to hit the big centipede to death with one stick. But the giant insects that could fly next to him also flew directly towards the direction of the big centipede. Seeing how aggressive they were, I'm afraid they wanted to protect the big centipede in Su Lin's hands, so as to buy time for the big centipede to recover. Oh, wishful thinking. Su Lin also saw their plan. At this time, Su Lin had already used the plant possession of nuts and kiwi fruit. Let's not talk about the nut shield. Just because he was possessed by the Monkey King, his defense had already been raised to a very high level, and with the existence of the nut shield, even if Su Lin stood there motionless, allowing the giant insects to attack, he would probably be unscathed. The defensive ability is already very sufficient, so the next step is to be able to break through the siege. Then continue. Let you bugs know what despair is, and know that we humans are the masters of the earth. After saying that, Su Lin directly used two plants to possess. One is the pea shooter. The other is the ice shooter. I saw that a green machine gun appeared on Su Lin's left arm, which was the ability brought by the pea shooter. And on the right arm, there was also a machine gun, but it was blue, the ice shooter. The left hand shot out ordinary peas. The right hand was an ice pea with ice properties. It's not over yet. Go, monkeys and grandchildren. Pull off a few hairs casually, and blow them gently. Countless Su Lin appeared in the air. They also had golden sticks, somersault clouds under their feet, and two machine guns in their hands. Under Su Lin's command, some of these clones swung the golden hoop directly and rushed towards the insect swarm. The other part raised their hands and fired directly at the insect swarm. The peas ejected by the pea shooter and the ice peas of the ice shooter are not comparable to ordinary firearms and ammunition. Just with a similar firing rate, the size of the peas is comparable to that of a basketball. It is equivalent to a basketball-like bullet. It is simply a cannon. Moreover, it is a continuous fire. For a while, the sound of poo 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 was endless. The fire that burst out when the peas were fired was even more dazzling than the sun in the sky. Bang bang bang. These poor insects were basically smashed to death by the big peas. Anyone who was lucky enough was also shot by the ice peas. Half of their bodies were gone, and they were directly frozen into ice sculptures. They fell to the ground and shattered into ice slag. As for Su Lin, he rushed directly to the centipede that was gradually regaining consciousness. Su Lin, standing in front of the centipede that was completely destroyed, showed a cruel smile. He directly pushed the golden stick into the centipede's mouth. At the same time, he pressed both hands into the centipede's mouth. Before the centipede understood what was about to happen, tragedy happened. Su Lin used three methods at the same time. His left hand fired a giant pea. His right hand fired an ice pea, and the golden hoop pressed against its mouth was directly attacked. It became longer, longer, longer. It stabbed directly into the centipede's body. If what happened just now was just an external injury, and the extremely hard shell was shattered all over the ground, then now it is internal bleeding, and the internal organs are directly destroyed. Boom. A burst of explosions. The poor centipede was blown to pieces. Its internal organs were shattered, splashing into the sky and spraying out. Su Lin, who was the first to be hit, was unlucky. The stench, blood clots, rotten flesh, and exploded pieces of meat all greeted him. The extremely sticky body fluids almost suffocated him. He struggled to wipe off the mucus on his body while resisting the urge to vomit and gasping for breath. Damn. I didn't get killed by the centipede, but I was almost drowned by its blood. After opening his eyes, all he saw were the fragments and dregs of the centipede. TSK, it's so violent. Su Lin was surprised by the destructive power of his explosion. At the same time, the giant insects next to him were also entangled by his clones and were delayed in place for a while. For a while, Su Lin became free and relaxed. In that case, Su Lin narrowed his eyes and looked into the distance. As the saying goes, to catch a thief, you must first catch the leader. I wanted to capture that Ant-Man alive anyway, so let's do it now. Somersault Cloud, let's go. Chapter 204, Ant-Man, who's speeding all the way. Su Lin also specially controlled the height of the somersault cloud. Let it not fly too high. He can continue to stay in the low altitude range and attack the giant insects. The scene was very gorgeous. The insects far away raised their hands and attacked with two peas. The ones close, the golden hoop greeted them. At this time, Su Lin felt that he was not a human. After tempering, his physique had already possessed an inhuman physique. And now after being possessed by Sun Wukong, he was simply a Superman. He felt that if he jumped lightly now, he might be able to jump 100 meters high. There were a few snaps. The golden hoop in Su Lin's hand staged a gorgeous performance, which was extremely dazzling, and pointed directly at Ant-Man. Ant-Man also knew that Su Lin rushed towards him, but it obviously didn't have the leisure time to feel scared and panic. Its mind was full of the current situation of the tragic death of the centipede. Logically speaking, the centipede is like the father or uncle of Ant-Man. Not to mention that it was the centipede's selfless bravery that saved the giant insects from the fire. But now, die without a complete body. Ant-Man was twitching all over, his face was pale, and the tentacles on his forehead turned from black to red. In a rage, he bent down and picked up a branch. The tip of his claws touched it, and it snapped and split into two. Ant-Man was seen holding a branch in one hand. Blood-black mist appeared on his body due to his rage. This layer of mist even wrapped around Ant-Man's hands, and then directly entangled the two branches. It turned directly into two short knives. Two short knives formed by blood-black mist. You retreat. Seeing the other giant insects preparing to fight against the aggressive Su Lin, Ant-Man roared immediately. It was like a suppression from genes and bloodline. All the insects immediately stopped and retreated one after another. Let me do it. Then, the Ant-Man rushed forward without hesitation. Oh. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. He thought that the Ant-Man would only stay in the back row and would never dare to come out. But he didn't expect that he had such courage. The courage to die. Hey, over there. Su Lin shouted while running fast. Can you talk? So what if I can? Hearing that the other party was still willing to talk to him, Su Lin also stopped and floated in the air. Seeing this, the Ant-Man also stopped before and after rushing to Su Lin, looking at Su Lin in front of him coldly. Facing each other, so close, Su Lin was able to see the Ant-Man's appearance clearly. It really looks a bit like a human. Tell me your name, human. Ant-Man said coldly, you will be the first one to speak to me, and you will also be the last one. Feel honored. After all, you are also the first human whose name I know. That's really an honor. Su Lin smiled with narrowed eyes. Hello, Bug. I'm Su Lin. What about you? Since you can speak and have wisdom, I guess you have a name too, right? ZHUC. Who named you? It's none of your business. Zeus said coldly. Well, I thought it was named by one of your previous masters, and Zeus. Ha ha ha. Su Lin sneered. After hearing this, Zeus swung his knife and slashed at the air, angrily saying shut up. This is what my mother, the respected Queen Ant, gave me. You know nothing. Forget it. Let's not waste any more time. Su Lin, have you been showing off for a long time? Not bad. Su Lin shrugged, picked his ears, and said indifferently, I also know your purpose. Isn't it to capture cities and invade humans? And you also know what kind of resistance we will make. At the same time, I will not accept your surrender. So, let's have a good fight. Let's have a good fight. As soon as the voice fell, both of them took action. And Su Lin even jumped down from the somersault cloud and flew away. Ding. To on to confrontation. The short knife and the golden hoop hit each other, and there was a stalemate. Su Lin hesitated for a moment. He originally thought that as Sun Wukong, he would be crushed by a mere Ant-Man. But now, when the situation was at a stalemate, Xiuc's strength seemed to be a little stronger than his own. It felt that the strength of this ant was stronger than that of the centipede. But it was normal. After all, ants could lift things that were dozens of times heavier than their own weight. And now with this size and weight, tons, I'm afraid it wouldn't be easy. Is this all you can do? Xiuc took the opportunity to ridicule. Su Lin gritted his teeth. The plant possession ability of kiwi fruit can only last for 15 minutes. Now there is only half the time left. No matter what, Su Lin must make a quick decision. Although there is still the ability of plant possession for the last time. But who knows what will happen next. If possible, Su Lin still wants to keep this last plant possession as his trump card for emergency use. Then bang bang. 2 bursts. Su Lin fired the 2 machine guns on his arms without hesitation. A big P and an ice P. Although both sides used cold weapons, the situation was at a stalemate. At this time, Su Lin suddenly used firearms, which was indeed a bit unfair. But facing such an enemy, or a bug, Su Lin just wanted to win. 2 Ps went down. Xiuc was also directly knocked away. There was even frost on his body, caused by being hit by the ice Ps. These layers of frost also slowed down Xiuc's speed a lot. A trick. Xiuc shouted, and then swung his hands. He actually shook off the frost on his body directly. I never thought that Xiuc had such strength. But If you have the guts, grow a cannonball on your body. Su Lin sneered, and then raised his hands and fired repeatedly. Bang bang bang. Countless peas, green peas, blue peas, bombarded XIUC one by one. Facing this overwhelming offensive, XIUC also became alert, and it squinted its eyes, and observed the peas closely. He could feel that the green peas, relatively speaking, caused more damage, although the blue peas did not do as much damage as the green peas. Once hit by the blue peas, frost would inevitably ripple on his body, restricting his movements. If he was attacked by a series of blue peas, even if it was not, he would be turned into a big ice sculpture. Question mark? Thinking of this, Zeus no longer hesitated. Holding the two swords, it suddenly spun on the spot. Chapter 205, Fierce Battle. He stomped his front and back feet frantically on the ground, creating layers of wind and waves. The wooden stick and double swords in Zeus's hands made a ferocious roar. The blood-black mist that was originally attached to it turned into a tornado, surrounding Zeus. When the speed of rotation was fast enough, the tornado became thicker and stronger. It firmly protected Zeus in the eye of the storm. All this happened in a flash. When Zeus saw these peas, he found a way to deal with it, and he did it without hesitation. So the peas could only attack the tornado caused by Zeus at this time. The peas hit the tornado, and were bounced away one by one. No matter how Su Lin continued to attack, the peas could not break through the tornado barrier. Even the frost peas were bounced back in an instant when they touched the tornado, and not even a bit of frost could condense. Seeing this, Su Lin slowly put his hands down. He knew that, if he continued like this, it would be a waste of effort. Not to mention, the thick tornado in front of him was slowly spinning towards him. I'm afraid that, if he continued to shoot, he would eventually be hit by the peas that bounced back from the tornado. By then, it would be a pitfall, and it's still a time. Seeing that Su Lin had stopped using peas to attack, XIUC still had no intention of stopping. It planned to rush away directly with such a tornado. Use the extremely sharp wind outlet to tear Su Lin in half. Thinking of this, it subconsciously increased its speed and moved closer to Su Lin at an increasingly faster speed. But the next second, it felt that it was hit by something foreign. It hurt. And with the double knives in its hands, every time it came into contact with this foreign object, its speed of rotation also decreased a bit. Now XIUC is rotating at a high speed. The frequency of touching each other is so frequent that his head is a little numb. In the end, this foreign object also forced the madly rotating tornado to stop. Just when XIUC gritted his teeth and wanted to see what kind of foreign object was stopping him from moving forward, he saw that it was the golden hoop stick. It turned out that when Su Lin decided not to shoot anymore, he turned to use the golden hoop stick. He smashed it directly with the stick. At the same time, he also used the retractable feature of the golden hoop stick. It turned into a big stick. From the side, it swept across. It hit XIUC heavily. There was a sizzling sound, and lightning flashed everywhere. When the golden stick and the double swords collided, strong sparks burst out. In the end, XIUC still lost. Even in the case of high-speed rotation, it seemed that XIUC's double swords had never left at all, and had been resisting the golden stick. But it was not the case after all. It just looked like that. The two knives were just constantly attacking the golden stick while spinning. To be honest, it was because the speed was too fast, leaving after images. From the after images, it looked like the two knives were just blocking the golden stick. But under Su Lin's full strength attack, it only seemed to be blocking. How could it be possible? And XIUC also paid a heavy price for this. When he realized that he could no longer resist the golden stick and had to use all his strength to truly resist it, he had already missed the best opportunity to exert force. He was directly hit by Su Lin's big stick. Boom. The golden stick hit XIUC heavily. He treated it like a baseball and hit it directly. XIUC almost lost consciousness after feeling a strong impact. Su Lin also seized this fleeting opportunity. While throwing away the golden hoop, he swung his hands and fired continuously. Puff puff puff. A burst of machine gun-like sweeping attacks. It was really hard to imagine. The bullets of a machine gun are like basketballs. What a spectacular scene it would be if it were fired. In fact, it is a machine gun plus a rocket launcher, and it is a more powerful version. In short, only bursts of explosions were heard. This time, Who's could not deal with the P-bursts, let alone dodge. When Su Lin realized that Who's was about to hit the ground, he also began to control the situation. His left hand was muted and stopped firing Ps. Then, his right hand continued to output ice Ps. Su Lin tried to freeze Who's directly. Unexpectedly, Who's was so strong. He had obviously fallen into a semi-comatose state, and the frost on his body was about to devour him. But he regained consciousness the moment he was about to hit the ground. Spinning in the air, relying on the strong centrifugal force, the frost on his body was melted. Then he turned gorgeously and landed safely on the ground. But, although it was a set of relief movements, it was very cool. But it also spit out a mouthful of old blood. It pressed its heart with a painful expression. Su Lin's combo just now caused internal injuries. If it hadn't relied on its own strong willpower, it would probably have fallen into a coma. If it was frozen into an ice sculpture, and Su Lin still refused to give in, the consequences would be disastrous. Thinking of this, Xiuc roared unwillingly. There were waves of air all over his body, and a dazzling light passed by. Unexpectedly, Xiuc also changed. Question mark? Two thin wings grew on its back. It turned into a flying ant. Question mark? Go to hell. Su Lin. The thin wings kept flapping. It flew straight towards Su Lin. Its speed was so fast that Su Lin didn't react at all. It was as if it had pierced through the space and came directly behind Su Lin. The two swords swept across. Xiuc heavily smashed the two swords in his hands on Su Lin. But, the nut shield was still there. These rotating transparent shields also protected Su Lin from this fatal blow. But who would have thought that these shields were all broken into pieces? Not only that, the original nut shield had an extremely terrifying self-healing ability. Often once it was broken, the fragments did not fall to the ground, but were directly pieced together again in mid-air. But this time, I don't know if Xiuc's double swords were poisonous. The fragments did not close together again. Su Lin. Go to hell. You don't have a shield this time. After failing in one attack, Xiuc quickly threw his hands and prepared to launch a second round of attacks. Danger is imminent. The shield has not yet healed, and Su Lin has not completely turned around, and he was attacked from the back. But at this critical moment, a flame broke out beside Su Lin and Xiuc. Chapter 206 Will-O-Wisp. Boom. The blazing flames shot straight into the sky. It attracted the attention of the people who were still fighting not far away. Even the giant insects stopped their claws and fangs and stared blankly at the direction where the flames were ejected. They were stunned. What kind of energy could release such a flame? Even the superpowers who used flames were stunned. Such flames? Question mark? Yan Wu swallowed his saliva. His intuition told him that such flames should be used by Su Lin. However, the power of this kind of flame was somewhat different from the flames he saw when he went to his farm before. Not only in terms of color, but also in terms of power. It turned out that at this critical moment, Su Lin used plant possession again. At the same time, this was the last plant possession he could use today. If this still couldn't defeat Xiuc, then he had no other way. In order to increase the destructive power, Su Lin also decided to use flame plants for this last plant possession. Fire dragon grass was a good choice. But Su Lin wanted to use a new plant, the pepper pitcher. You know, the material of the fire dragon grass also required flame, but it was just an ordinary flame. The pepper pitcher is different. The flame it requires is a ghost fire. You know, in order to collect this ghost fire, a superpower was sacrificed. Logically speaking, this pepper pitcher should be stronger than the fire dragon grass, right? Unexpectedly, Su Lin really guessed it. Just based on the blazing flames, it's worth it. This group of flames is not red, but composed of two colors. The outermost layer is cyan, and the cyan flame wraps the innermost blue flame. From a distance, such a flame gives people a cold illusion. But you can only know it when you get close. This seemingly cold flame has a terrifyingly high temperature. Even if you don't touch it, as long as you are close enough, it can burn people to death directly. The plant possession ability of the pepper pitcher is just like this. controlling the will-o'-the-wisp, and the usage time is 15 minutes. And now, the duration of the kiwi is about to end. If you can't continue to maintain the state of Sun Wukong and give yourself a strong buff, then even if you have the will-o'-the-wisp that can destroy the world, Su Lin will not be a match for XIUC. The winner is about to be decided. Su Lin waved his hand. The will-o'-the-wisp turned directly in a direction and flew towards XIUC. Seeing this, XIUC was not afraid at all, holding the double swords, standing at the front, and rushed up. The will-o'-the-wisp, the confrontation with the double swords. The overwhelming will-o'-the-wisp, when it touched XIUC's double swords, seemed to intend to devour half of it in one breath, and burst out amazing energy. Unexpectedly, the flame, like flowing water, was blocked by the double swords and flowed away. Hey, it's just like this. XIUC gritted his teeth. He was showing off. He had already felt that these layers of flames were not something he could handle. But he still gritted his teeth and persisted. He felt that he was about to melt. Just when XIUC was showing off, there was a ding. The double swords in his right hand were directly burned. Although it was a small wooden stick, it was also a special weapon wrapped in the blood black mist outside XIUC's body. It can be said to be an indestructible artifact. It was an existence that could compete with the golden hoop stick. But now, it was burned to ashes alive. XIUC widened his eyes. The double swords that were originally used to resist the blazing ghost fire were now missing. The consequence was, the right side was lost. The surging ghost fire poured down. Although it could not burn XIUC's left side for the time being, it could still gnaw on XIUC's right side unscrupulously. XIUC let out a painful howl. As a last resort, he had to hide from the limelight for a while. Just as XIUC was trying to endure the pain and was leaving from the right, a shadow came from the left. A shadow with ghost fire. Su Lin swung the golden hoop stick again and smashed it towards XIUC. This time, it was not an ordinary golden hoop stick, but a ghost fire golden hoop stick. This could be said to be an attack that Su Lin had prepared for. He cleverly wrapped the ghost fire around the golden hoop stick. On one hand, he controlled the ghost fire so that it would not burn the golden hoop stick directly, and on the other hand, he also controlled the ghost fire and went all out to burn the opponent in front of him. After being hit by the stick, XIUC felt that his internal organs were about to break apart, not to mention the half of his body that was burned by the ghost fire just now. At the same time, this stick also directly solved XIUC. He didn't have to continue to endure the burning of the ghost fire. However, XIUC, who was flying in the air, tried hard to open his eyes. He knew that he couldn't fall into a coma with consciousness now. Once he did this, even if Su Lin didn't take advantage of the situation to chase him, he would be dead. But just when he opened his eyes, XIUC was stunned. Because there was a huge monster following him closely, and it had already raised its big claws and smashed XIUC. Bang! It can be called intercepting halfway. XIUC was originally flying straight out, but he didn't expect to be intercepted halfway, and fell to the ground, directly making a deep pit on the ground. Puff! A few mouthfuls of old blood spurted out. XIUC, embedded in the ground, opened his eyes with difficulty. Half of its body has lost consciousness, and now it has to withstand the angry blow from the sky. A huge monster blocked it. A dragon. A huge dragon. A huge dragon with its whole body, formed by ghost fire, is hovering in the sky. At this time, Su Lin was standing on the head of the dragon. Hey, this should be the last blow. Su Lin panted slightly. Using so many plant possessions in succession, and fighting for so long is also a burden on his body. Especially just now, after using the plant possession of a chili pitcher to summon the will-o'-the-wisp, and then gaining the right to use the will-o'-the-wisp in order to protect himself, in order to let XIUC distance himself from him, in order to avoid XIUC's fatal blow just now. Su Lin forcibly bloomed the will-o'-the-wisp and exploded it in the gap between himself and XIUC. This was originally a great effort. Not to mention, after spraying such a strong will-o'-the-wisp, Su Lin continued to strengthen the will-o'-the-wisp to counter XIUC. And at the critical moment, when XIUC was about to escape, he extracted a little will-o'-the-wisp from it and attached it to the golden hoop. At the same time, while Xiuc's attention was focused on fighting the will-o'-the-wisp in front of him, he controlled the will-o'-the-wisp and transformed into a giant will-o'-the-wisp dragon. All of these things can be said to require extremely strong willpower and mental strength to be accomplished. Finally, the dawn of victory is right in front of us. Zeus, die. Go. Golden cudgel. Go. Pea shooter. Go. Ice shooter. Go. Will-o'-wisp roar. The golden cudgel becomes longer. The golden cudgel with will-o'-the-wisp attached to it directly hits Zeus on the ground. The pea machine gun directly sent a pea that is as big as a boulder, and the ice shooter also shut down the gun. Not to mention the will-o'-the-wisp balls ejected from the mouth of the will-o'-the-wisp dragon. All of them, all hit Zeus. Chapter 207. Capture the king first. Boom. Flames shot up to the sky. All the attacks hit Xiuc. Under such a strong offensive, all the energy gathered together, and the explosion shockwave caused by the bombing pierced the sky for a moment. In a trance, even the sun in the sky did not shine so brightly. Ding, congratulations on collecting the material brighter than the sun. At this moment, an unexpected sound appeared. Unexpectedly, such a thing happened. For a moment, Su Lin was also a little bit amused. He did get the blueprint of a new plant. Sunshine bud. 40 sunflowers plus brighter than the sun equals sunshine bud. 40 sunflowers. He naturally knew how to do it. Plant them. Just plant 40 sunflowers. This is easy. But this so-called brighter than the Sunday, Su Lin really didn't understand it. The previous plant materials, no matter how hard to understand, were at least a noun. If you rack your brains, you can still understand it. At least it is something that can be imagined. This time it's good. Just come up with an adjective. Brighter than the sun? Who the hell can figure it out? Before going to bed last night, Su Lin was thinking, what the hell? Brighter than the sun? Why not just blow up the sun, and then there will be nothing to worry about? I didn't expect it to turn out like this. It turns out that what I did was brighter than the sun. The explosion caused by Su Lin's continuous attack just now was indeed brighter than the Sunday. Look, even the sun's light was taken away by the brightness of the explosion shockwave. Forget it. Su Lin shrugged. I was thinking of using the universal material at that time, but I didn't expect to save it. It was really an accident. As soon as the voice fell, Su Lin felt a sense of exhaustion. It was an exhaustion from the depths of the Su Lin body, a feeling of fatigue, sweeping over. I saw that the tight hoop on his forehead, which represented Sun Wukong, turned into powder and disappeared. The golden hoop in his hand also disappeared. It turned out that it was the plant possession ability of the kiwi fruit. When Sun Wukong separated from Su Lin's body, Su Lin turned back to himself and no longer had the invulnerable body. The previous injuries were swept away. Su Lin almost fainted. Damn it. Su Lin gritted his teeth. At this time, he couldn't fall into a coma. No matter what, he had to hold on. It was not only the kiwi fruit that reached the time limit, but also the ability that gave Su Lin the greatest peace of mind, the nut shield, which also dissipated. At the same time, the duration of the pea shooter and the ice shooter was about to end. The only thing that could continue to be used was the wisp dragon under his crotch. Su Lin sat weakly on the head of the ghost fire dragon. The smoke had dissipated. Looking down, he could see that Zeus was half dead. No, half of its body was gone. The remaining half of its body was only a few debris. If it weren't for the faint light in its eyes, oh, it was an unbelievable light, Su Lin would have thought it was already dead. Fortunately, it's fine. Su Lin also planned to capture Xiuc alive and torture him. There are still many things to ask this insect that can speak human language. After a short rest, Su Lin also controlled the ghost fire dragon and slowly came to the ground. After a big wave of his hand, the ghost fire dragon also flew to the vicinity and began to be alert to the surrounding giant insects. The wounded Su Lin could not withstand the next attack. If there was a big centipede or a master like Xiuc, I'm afraid. Oh, I think you are not dead yet? Su Lin looked at the dying Xiuc with a smile. Su Lin. Xiuc swallowed and looked at Su Lin weakly. Its eyes were filled with all kinds of unwillingness and shame. Not to mention the overwhelming anger. It would never have thought that it would be defeated by a human. This was something it could not accept, or it could not understand. Obviously, after the genetic changes, the insects still had the physical fitness of their ancestors in ancient times, and even more, the physical fitness was far better than before. But why? Still can't beat the human in front of them. Why don't you think about it? Su Lin smiled coldly. We humans are the masters of the earth, standing at the top of all creatures. Oh, hearing this, Xiuc also made a sarcastic voice. Really? If you humans are really the masters of the earth, and at the same time, stand at the top of all creatures, then what about this disaster? What will happen to this disaster? Hearing this, Su Lin was stunned. He opened his mouth and wanted to explain and refute, but he suddenly lost his strength. It was a sudden feeling of exhaustion. Yes, he really didn't know how to explain it, or rather, he didn't know how to justify it. Question mark? The occurrence of this catastrophe was not caused by the explosion of the Earth's core, which resulted in the explosion of core radiation. Wherever the radiation passed, it changed the genes of all living things, including humans, animals, plants, insects, and other living things. But why did the Earth's core explode? There is a guess that humans are suffering from their own actions. The destruction of the environment, the destruction of the ecological chain, and the waste of resources are all constantly eroding the Earth's crust, thus causing the explosion. Under these various reasons, this catastrophe was caused. In other words, isn't the culprit human beings? So what? Su Lin took a deep breath, his face gloomy, staring at Xiuc. That's also a human business. Since you are wise, you must understand that the winner is the king and the loser is the enemy, right? If you giant insects win, then the unlucky ones are naturally us humans. But I'm sorry, the losers are you. Then, Su Lin walked directly to Xiuc and grabbed him. At the same time, he also summoned back the ghost fire dragon. Since the commander has been captured, let's go back and get all the information out. After being tossed by Su Lin, Xiuc didn't expect that he would fall into a coma directly. Just coma? But this is good, so that he won't be able to think about it on the way and find a short circuit. Then we will be in trouble. Su Lin complained while looking up at the sky, although it was daytime at this time. But in a trance, he seemed to see the stars through the sunlight. If the earth is like this, there is no room for redemption. So, is the future of mankind in outer space? Chapter 208, Capture Alive. Su Lin shook his head. Now was not the time to think about this problem. After all, the earth could still survive. Maybe. Then, Su Lin controlled the ghost fire dragon and came to the place where the giant insects gathered the most. After a dragon roar, Su Lin grabbed Xiuc's head and threw it out, shouting carelessly. Although I don't know if you can understand me, I have to catch the king first. Your Xiuc, your Ant-Man, is already in my hands. Get out. Leave here, otherwise I will kill Xiuc. Or I will let you be buried with it. If the roar of the ghost fire dragon only frightened the giant insects, causing them to stop their attacks and look up at the terrifying creature that gave them pressure from the depths of their souls, then what Su Lin did just now made them feel terrified. Bugs are bugs after all. No matter how smart they are, they still need a king or a commander. Once something happens to the commander standing at the top of all the bugs, they will lose their composure. The bugs tried hard to sense through their own genes, but found that, no matter how they contacted or triggered, they could not activate the signal from Xiuc. Either they died, or fell into a coma. Without a leader, it was simply a disaster for the bugs. Without waiting for Su Lin to finish speaking, they were completely in chaos, like a meteorite or a cannonball, falling on them. Scattered. Like headless flies, they began to retreat, but they did not have an accurate location, as if they had forgotten the way they came, bumping around. Some small bugs were unlucky, and were directly crushed by the big bugs rushing in. The humans, after seeing the bugs lose their composure like this, were also smart not to continue to entangle. Bumping around like this, trampling accidents occurred frequently, so don't think about adding insult to injury. It's good enough to be able to protect yourself. Hold on. Zhao Ying roared. Just hold the line. Don't attack. All defensive psychics, go forward. Don't let these crazy bugs invade us. Zhao Ying immediately gave orders, and gave them correctly. In this way, the human wall formed by the strong body barely protected the rear and blocked the crazy bugs outside. After realizing that the human wall could not be broken in order to survive, the bugs all turned their heads and flew in other directions. TSK. Su Lin, who was standing on the ghost-fire dragon, shook his head. Originally, he just wanted to hit the morale of the bugs, but he didn't expect that these bugs had no morale at all. After realizing that Zeus's life and death were uncertain, he was directly confused. In desperation, Su Lin had to control the ghost-fire dragon to fly forward, at least to a safe area. It was only after it flew to a safe area he realized that it was thanks to these stinky bugs that they retreated. Otherwise, if the battle continues like this, humans will be defeated. There are casualties everywhere, and there are holes on the ground. On the other hand, the number of giant insects has decreased, but there are still far more than humans. Continue to fight? Su Lin dared not even think about it. After safely reaching the ground, Su Lin waved his hands and let the ghost-fire dragon move freely. While the pepper pitcher plant still has some time to possess, quickly kill a few more stink bugs. You are really worthy of it. Lei Tao, who was sitting on the ground, looked at Su Lin breathlessly. It's okay. Su Lin shrugged and lifted Xiuc up with a smile. What Su Lin didn't expect was that Xiuc's half body that was originally missing actually began to grow. ? This terrible self-healing ability Xiuc was still in a coma, and his body was able to spontaneously repair itself. ? TSK. He can heal himself like this. Didn't you say you have a superpower who can torture people? Yes. Lei Tao nodded. Is this the Ant-Man you mentioned? You almost beat him to death, right? I kept a hand. Didn't you say you would torture him? So I didn't kill him. Hey. You still call me not killing him? Forget it. Just capture him alive. I'll let him come over. Lei Tao stood up with difficulty. It can be seen that he was also injured in this battle. Su Lin waved his hands repeatedly. Wait here. I'll call someone to help you heal. No need. Before Lei Tao finished speaking, with a plop, Su Lin fell to the ground and couldn't get up. Hey. Su Lin. Lei Tao nervously went forward to check and shook Su Lin, but found that he couldn't wake up no matter what. Hey. When Su Lin opened his eyes again, he found that he was already in the tent. He shook his head in pain and sat up with difficulty. Su Lin, are you awake? Next to him was a short-haired woman. Yes, water. I'm thirsty. Wait. The woman quickly handed Su Lin a glass of water. Wait a minute, I'll call someone in. Yes. Not long after, Zhao walked in. He anxiously sat on the stool beside Su Lin's bed and asked with concern, Su Lin, how do you feel? My head hurts. You don't know, when you fell into a coma, it was so scary. Zhao sighed. If it weren't for the repeated examinations by Dr. Li Da, he said that you were just too tired because of fighting for too long. Plus you had injuries in your body. Otherwise we would have been scared to death. Yes, I feel so tired too. Su Lin smiled bitterly. His only memory also stayed when he fell into a coma. In fact, when his kiwi plant possession ability ended, he couldn't hold on. In the end, he relied on willpower to handle everything properly. It seems that this ability is strong. Of course, being directly possessed by Monkey King, how can it not be strong? But you still have to be careful when using it in the future, as it is too much of a burden on the body. It's okay. Just take a rest. No, Su Lin shook his head. He swallowed and looked at Zhao anxiously. Where are the giant insects? Have they completely retreated? What about the battle situation? What about the follow-up? Su Lin was really worried about the follow-up battle situation. Zhao was stunned. You must have been unconscious for too long. You have been unconscious for a day and a night. Before you fell into a coma, didn't the insects already start to retreat? Now all that's left is to clean up the battle. Oh, it's over. Wait. As if he had thought of something, Su Lin's pupils widened. I've been unconscious for a day and a night. That means the giant insect attack happened yesterday? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 209, Good Wife. Yeah. Zhao Ang looked at Su Lin in surprise, not understanding why he was so nervous. This won't do. Su Lin panicked. I must go back and take a look. I want to go back. No. Zhao Ang stopped Su Lin. You must stay and have a good rest. Let's talk about it after you recover. Of course, Su Lin was extremely nervous. Please, at night, there are zombies attacking at night. And last night, Su Lin, who was in a coma, obviously missed the zombie attack last night. Before leaving, after learning that the giant insects were attacking, that is, before going out, Su Lin also arranged the farm. The first row is all sunflowers, and the front row is all plants that can fight, like pea shooters, ice shooters, cabbage pitchers, lightning reeds and other plants. But if Su Lin was not in charge, could he defeat the zombies that attacked last night? Question mark. Even if it is not zero mode, the plants planted are still there. Can they be defeated? Question mark. Without Su Lin, there is no way to plant. Why are you so nervous? Push open the tent. Liang Crossing, Li Dan, Lei Tao, and Yan Wu. All four of them came in. After learning that Su Lin had woken up, they all came to visit Su Lin. Liang Crossing even walked forward and gently held Su Lin. You should have a good rest now. Liang Crossing. Su Lin frowned, feeling that he was living a life worse than death. The survival farm was everything to him. There were his partners, his sister, and the foundation of his foothold in this apocalypse, the Plants vs. Zombies system. If the wooden house was breached, it would be all over. You know that too. Su Lin's voice trembled. When facing the life and death moment of the giant centipede and the Zeus Ant-Man, he was not so nervous and afraid. At night I know. Liang Crossing interrupted Su Lin quickly. She also understood what Su Lin was worried about. I know what you are worried about, but the farm is still there. It's still there. I went there last night, and I was able to protect the farm from those zombie monsters. What? Su Lin's pupils widened. A little bit unbelievable. Yeah. Liang Crossing nodded, and then slowly told the story. It turned out that after Su Lin fell into a coma, although Lei Tao was unfamiliar with the place, he still tried hard to find the commander Zhao Ang. Zhao Ang also hurriedly took Su Lin and Lei Tao to the logistics department. Both of them needed treatment. At that time, Li Dao also shook his head and said helplessly that Su Lin was too exhausted. This exhaustion was not only physical, but also mental. Although it was not serious, he didn't know what would wake him up. As a last resort, Su Lin had to lie on the bed and recuperate. Until the evening, there was still no sign of awakening. After Liang Crossing learned about this, she was worried about Su Lin and the situation on the farm. She herself came out of the farm and knew that every night there would be zombie monsters attacking. Before, she relied on Su Lin to defend the country. But now. So Liang Crossing also asked Lei Tao and Yan Wu. I won't say much about Lei Tao, who is willing to go through fire and water for Su Lin. And Yan Wu? He was only afraid of Su Lin. But after this battle, he couldn't help but have a different feeling in his heart. Oh, not that kind of feeling. It's a kind of worship and admiration. He immediately agreed to Liang Crossing. The three of them, together with the army, led by Zhao Ang, went to the survival farm together. In Liang Crossing's impression, firearms and ammunition did not seem to cause much damage to zombies. However, Zhao Ang also realized that he didn't know what would happen at that time, so it was better to have more armed forces to compare. Lei Tao also selected some superpowers with strong attack capabilities and arrived at the survival farm in the evening. After all, Liang Crossing was an acquaintance. In a few words, he made things clear, and the partners in the survival farm did not doubt anything. Even if they saw the original enemy Yan Wu, they could live in peace. That night, the zombies arrived as promised. But the thing that Su Lin was most worried about did not happen. It was not the zero mode. The plants he had planted before could still be kept to protect the survival farm. The next thing is very simple. That is fighting. Liang Crossing has considered a possibility. That is, only Su Lin can grow plants. Once Su Lin is no longer on the farm or falls into a coma, There will be one less plant, one less plant. So the battle plan is very clear. Everyone is doing their best to resist the zombies. As long as the zombies show up, they will continue to attack. The first few rounds were fine. The zombies were killed outside without the help of plants. The next few rounds were more difficult. The zombies became stronger and stronger. Liang Crossing also decisively commanded, fighting and retreating, relying on the offensive of the plants to win another city. In the end, basically, after paying the price of the first few rows of plants, the zombies were successfully repelled. The 3 treasure chests obtained were also moved back to the cabin by Liang Crossing. Guests are guests. What's more, they came to help. Everyone also came back after having a good midnight snack at the surviving farm. I see. Su Lin smiled and then looked at everyone in front of him one by one. Thank you for protecting my farm when I was unconscious. Say that. Lei Tao rolled his eyes. Liang Crossing smiled faintly. As for Yan Wu, after being thanked so sincerely by Su Lin, he also subconsciously raised his chin, looking proud. But Zhao Ying scratched the back of his head beside him. Su Lin, no wonder you are so strong. It turns out that you have to face such terrible creatures every night. Guns and ammunition are basically useless. Yes. Lei Tao also twitched his mouth. Last night's farm defense battle. He had a feeling that it seemed to be more difficult than the human insect war during the day. His lightning ability, hitting the zombies, felt like he had no power to use. Even Yan Wu, the flame ability user, felt the same way. If Su Lin hadn't planted so many plants, I'm afraid. Ha ha ha. Su Lin laughed and immediately understood what was going on from the embarrassed faces of several people. He could only feel lucky. Fortunately, he was lucky and it was not reset to 0. Otherwise, who knows what would happen. By the way, Su Lin looked at Lei Tao anxiously. Where is the Ant-Man Zeus? Dead. Chapter 210 The Bug's Plan. Su Lin was stunned. Dead. It was not easy to capture the Ant-Man Zeus alive. I wanted to extract enough information from him, but I didn't expect that he was dead. Question mark? Don't worry. Lei Tao waved his hand. I have already extracted enough information. Oh, Su Lin breathed a sigh of relief. Since he got the information he wanted, then let Zeus die to apologize. Anyway, let me tell you slowly. Zhao Ying coughed lightly and then looked at Su Lin solemnly. Su Lin, anyway, thank you first, on behalf of, although I don't have the qualifications to represent all the people in Chunfeng City, I still did it anyway. On behalf of everyone, I would like to express my most sincere gratitude to you. Thank you, Su Lin. Thank you for saving Chunfeng City. Then, Zhao Ying bowed heavily. Not only that, Liang Crossing also made the same gesture. As for Lei Tao, he was not from Chunfeng City in the first place, he just came to help, but he didn't expect that he also bowed heavily. Even Yan Wu, who was arrogant, self-righteous, and thought he was the only one in the world, bowed. Su Lin was immediately at a loss for words. What's going on? Don't be like this. Besides, if it weren't for your help, my farm would have been gone long ago, right? Let's get it one thing at a time. Zhao Ying stood up and said solemnly, besides, why did you fall into a coma? It was because you fought with the giant insect. If you had any selfish intentions, you wouldn't be like this because of exhaustion. Anyway, thank you. Zhao Ying continued without waiting for Su Lin to refute. In the final analysis, it was because the casualties on the human side in yesterday's battle were too heavy. Even with the presence of Dr. Li Dan, who could treat any external injuries and save anyone, as long as they were still alive, he was just trying his best to minimize the number of casualties. In the end, after this battle, the death toll was half of the participants. Wounded? No. As long as Dr. Li Dan is here, there will be no wounded. But he has no special ability to revive the dead. But if there is, it would be a bit too much. When the giant insects retreated, their casualties were at most 1/3. At first glance, it seems that humans have won a great victory. The total death toll must be higher for insects. But the number of giant insects far exceeds that of humans. Both are not on the same base. How to compare? So after cleaning up the battlefield, Zhao Ang was so excited and came to express his gratitude in such a solemn way. In short, Su Lin deserves it all. Hearing this, Su Lin also smiled awkwardly. Lei Tao continued to add, I also want to thank you, Su Lin. You are fighting not only for Chunfeng City, but also for all humans, especially for capturing Xiuc alive. Oh, do your best, do your best. Su Lin waved his hand, his face flushed. Speaking of this, even if 10 of me were added together, we couldn't defeat the big centipede at the beginning, let alone defeat Xiuc in a single fight. Lei Tao said seriously. It can only be said that in Lei Tao's heart, Su Lin's status has been raised again. After all, what information did Xiuc say? Su Lin looked at the people in front of him. Anyway, the war is over, the battlefield is being cleaned up, not to mention that the zombie attack at night has been resolved. What Su Lin is most worried about now, or what he wants to know most, is the giant insect. Hearing this, Lei Tao also said slowly, so, when Su Lin fell into a coma, no matter how flustered Lei Tao was, he did not forget to bring Xiuc to his side. After Su Lin was properly sent to Dr. Li Da, after a short treatment, Lei Tao also reunited with his Thunder Eagle Kingdom. After briefly understanding the casualties and arranging for the injured to go for treatment, he found the superpower. The superpower with the ability of torture. The condition for the activation of this ability is that the target must be a half-disabled person. Xiuc just meets this activation condition. Even if his self-healing ability is strong, he is just hanging on by a breath. In the end, this psychic also successfully activated his ability and extracted the information he wanted from Xiuc. During the whole process, Xiuc was in a semi-conscious and semi-comatose state. Only when he was awake could he speak. Only when he was semi-comatose could he tell the secret in his heart. After obtaining enough information, Lei Tao also directly imprisoned him in the space dungeon of another psychic. Similarly, it also requires a half-disabled person to be imprisoned in it. But, when I checked Xiuc's situation today, I found that Xiuc had already died. After the preliminary diagnosis, it was suicide. I'm afraid that after he finished healing and woke up, he realized that he had leaked so much important information, so he committed suicide out of shame. Then, Lei Tao also directly told all the information he had obtained. Things like the queen ant, the king, the base of Fushan City, and the fact that the king was the last child, but also cruelly killed the queen ant. That is to say, there are still people like the Ant-Man Zeus. Well, according to Zeus, there are 8 more, with different specific forms, centipedes, mantises, cockroaches, etc. But the common point is that they all have a human form. The most important thing is that the so-called king is probably, Lei Tao swallowed his saliva, probably very strong. Yeah. Su Lin nodded. In order to defeat Zeus, he used 4 kinds of plants to possess his body. Unexpectedly, there are enemies above Zeus. But Su Lin scratched the back of his head embarrassedly. It's all my fault. When I was in Fushan City, I should have stayed and waited for the fire to go out. Unexpectedly, he had such a connection with the centipede and Zeus. If they had really stayed at that time, then I'm afraid there wouldn't be these insects with human form, intelligence, and the ability to speak. At the same time, there wouldn't be such tragic sacrifices. Speaking of this, Zhao Ang stepped forward and gently patted Su Lin on the back. It's meaningless to talk like this. You didn't know that kind of situation at that time. What's more, if it weren't for you, we would have died miserably under the feet of insects. Haha, in short, at least I can be at ease. According to Zeus, there are 9 generals with him. Under the instructions of their king, they are divided into 9 routes to invade, capture, and massacre. Lei Tao shrugged. Then he showed Su Lin a weird smile. It just so happens that one of the targets of the 2 armies is Orange County. Those people from the Superpower Alliance are out of luck. Chapter 211 Epilogue. Oh. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. For some reason, when he heard about this, he felt that there was such a good thing. Question mark? Anyway, the Superpower Alliance thought that they didn't need ordinary humans, only superpowers, so they were so arrogant, let them suffer. But I think the Superpower Alliance should be able to deal with it. After all, he had contact with the Superpower Alliance. Su Lin knew their strength very well. Although he seemed to have killed 7 in and 7 out, it was just a surprise attack, and the superpower alliance was short of manpower. But no matter what, Su Lin also hoped that the bugs could teach the superpower alliance a lesson and poke their arrogance. It was they who distinguished themselves from ordinary people. It can only be said that they deserved it. Su Lin also sincerely hoped that the bugs could trample the entire Orange County. Thinking of this, Su Lin looked at Lei Tao. By the way, what about Chaoshu City? Did Xiuxi tell us about the attack route of the insect generals? What about Chaoshu City? It's okay, Xiuxi and his men would have gone to Chaoshu City after conquering Chunfeng City, but now Xiuxi is gone, and our 2 cities are no longer on the attack routes of other insect generals. Oh. Hearing this, Su Lin nodded repeatedly. That's good. Then, what about the so-called king? It seems to be still in Orange County. Xiuxi himself can't explain it clearly. It seems that no one has seen the king's appearance since the king was born. They can only see the king's appearance through a certain barrier. They also receive the order to attack through the shadow of the barrier. Okay then. Su Lin had to shrug helplessly. When the repairs are finished, find some time to go and see it. Su Lin raised his eyebrows with a teasing tone to Lei Tao. Say it again, I dare not promise you. Besides, this is originally a matter for all mankind. It doesn't matter if only our 2 cities join in the fun. Oh, are you scared? Su Lin covered his mouth and laughed. That's not the case. Zhao Yang on the side smiled. The country also knows about this situation. This is indeed not something that can be solved by one city or one force. The country has also begun to think of a solution. So that's it. Su Lin nodded. Indeed, thinking of the current situation, Su Lin also glanced at Lei Tao. It's not nice to say. Lei Tao is also an enemy for the country. After all, they all have second thoughts and want to dominate the entire country and the world. But obviously, Lei Tao is a human being, and his actions have not yet hurt the country. But what about the bugs? Those who are not of my race must have different hearts. And these stinky bugs have begun to launch an offensive against the surrounding cities. No matter how you think about it, you know that bugs are the enemy of all mankind. As far as I know, now it's not only our country, but also other parts of the world and other countries. Various giant insects have appeared. I'm afraid that we will have a common enemy for a long time. Zhao Yang shrugged, and his tone was full of a faint fortunate. Su Lin raised his eyebrows and realized the reason for his calmness. Since the disaster began, the concept of the country has gradually faded. The food rescue work has not been fully carried out. Even after it was carried out, the food rescue work from top to bottom would be intercepted halfway. In this way, the people below did not get the food resources they deserved. This world has been in chaos for a long time. Most people have long known it well, and all the running around is only for themselves, just to have a meal next time. But there are still some people, especially soldiers like Zhao Yang. There is still some luck in their hearts. Finally, there is something that can be solved at the national level. With the emergence of such a country, the country can also be busy, and the sense of existence will naturally rise. Su Lin smiled helplessly. In any case, being able to deal with these giant insects in an organized and planned manner, Su Lin also felt a burst of relief. Okay, I won't say more. Su Lin, you have a good rest. I'll leave first. Zhao Yang waved her hand and left first. The battlefield still needs to be cleaned up. Whether it is the corpse of the giant insect or the corpse of the compatriot. Seeing this, Lei Tao also said directly, I'm almost leaving, and the tail work is almost done. This so-called leaving is not just going back to Chaoshu City. After hearing this, Zhao Yang also looked at Lei Tao, Thunder King. This time, I'm also very grateful for your coming and your help. Lei Tao waved his hand. It's okay, Su Lin's business is my business. Looking at Lei Tao's smirk, Su Lin knew that this guy might have moved away this week's food resources. Otherwise, how could he be so relaxed? In the blink of an eye, most of the people left the tent, leaving only Su Lin and Liang crossing. Finally, there were only 2 people left, and the 2 of them didn't need to act as restrained, as if they were surrounded by outsiders. I'm sorry, Liang crossing. who broke the silence first, apologized. I really didn't know what happened at the time. If I only relied on one human glory, I was worried that I wouldn't be able to protect the farm, so I told so many people. TSK, Su Lin gave Liang Crossing a coquettish look. It's already this time, why do you still think so? Besides, if you hadn't acted decisively and sought help, my farm would have been gone long ago. The farm is very important. Whether it's food supplies or military capital, they are my barriers to this doomsday. If you hadn't acted decisively, what do you think I would be like after I wake up now? Liang Crossing smacked his lips. But I also know that you hope to have a farm and live a good life. You don't want too many people to know about the existence of that farm. Lei Tao, Yang Wu, they have been there. Although Zhao Ying has never been to the farm, he also knows about the existence of this farm, so it's okay. Let them know that the zombies at night are okay. Okay. Su Lin said so, Liang Crossing no longer entangled in these things. Then you have a good rest. I'm leaving first. Okay. Su Lin kept looking at Liang Crossing's back until she left the tent. Then, he immediately checked the attribute table. He just wanted to know what the situation of the battle last night was like. It would be fine if he didn't look at it, but after looking at it, Su Lin's face looked like he had eaten a lot of flies. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and he was worse than death. Chapter 212. Oh Sunshine Points. System. Plants vs. Zombies level. Farm LV23. Plants. Sunflower X3. Pea shooter X1. Sunshine points. 0. -2,900,000. Planting land. 45 defense value. 100 over 500. Experience value. 13 over 2500. Abilities. Extraction. Gold upgrade. Plant possession. Battle gold. Unlocked plants. Sunflower. 2nd level. Pea shooter. 4th level. Vertical fruit. 3rd level. Potato bud. 3rd level. Cabbage shooter. 3rd level. Frozen lettuce. 3rd level. Torch stump. Charm mushroom. Kiwi. 2nd level. Boomerang shooter. K1. 2nd level. Energy flower. Fire dragon grass. 3rd level. Cherry bomb. 3rd level. Steel ground spike. 3rd level. Electric green tea. 3rd level. Corn pitcher. 3rd level. Mistletoe ice fairy. 2nd level. Cactus. 3rd level. Lightning reed. 3rd level. Ice shooter. 4th level. Pumpkin wizard. Reed fighter. Toy shooter. 3rd level. Pepper shooter. 3rd level. Prism grass. Original sunflower. Golden bud. Unlocked blueprints. Item. Universal material skill. Giant power. Gold coins. 42,260 normal. It's barely normal. It seems that the battle last night was indeed thrilling. The defense value is only 100 points left. There are only 3 sunflowers left. I'm afraid that 2 areas have been completely breached by zombies. They even reached the door of the house. Only by breaking through all the plants and reaching the door of the house can we cause damage to the house and reduce its defense value. Once the defense value is 0, the farm will be gone. I think Lei Tao and others must have spent a lot of effort to defeat the zombies. The skyrocketing gold coins. Su Lin can understand it. After all, there is a battle gold coin ability. Once Su Lin participates in the battle, he can get different amounts of gold coins. Yesterday's human insect war naturally brought Su Lin a terrifying amount of gold coins, which can be said to be a huge profit. The only thing that I can't understand is the sunshine points. Negative sunshine points. System. What's wrong with this sunshine point? I can't even understand a duck egg, let alone a negative number. Ding, because of the brilliant light. Ha. Ding, the farm accepted too many people, triggering the negative growth of brilliant light. This. Su Lin bit his lip. He understood. Because of brilliant light. So the number of people accepted by the farm has always been limited. 10 people. Under this limit, the higher the number of people, the higher the additional sunshine points. But once this number is exceeded, the sunshine points will begin to decrease. What Su Lin didn't expect was that because it exceeded the so-called limit, it even began to show negative growth, and Su Lin still owed a lot of sunshine points. Thinking of the scene last night, Su Lin rolled his eyes. I'm afraid that, after defeating the zombies, the group of people also entered the house. When there are too many people, it's forget it. Su Lin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What can he do? If that group of people hadn't come to help, I'm afraid there would be no farm now. I had no choice but to swallow it and ask for trouble. Thank goodness I have a golden bud, otherwise I would owe so many sunlight points. What would I do? But it's not a loss, so many gold coins. Hey, how many plants can be successfully advanced? After stretching, Su Lin also planned to go back to the farm after making sure that his body was no longer a problem. To synthesize golden buds, he would need 40 sunflowers. But, Su Lin thought of something and began to have a bad premonition. System? There are still 3 sunflowers now. What will happen to the sunlight points they generate? Ding, use them to pay off the debt, and you can accumulate sunlight points only after the negative number is cleared to 0. Fuck you. Yes, as the saying goes, die before you succeed. Su Lin has entered a dead end. Only golden buds can solve the current situation of owing sunlight points. But in order to fuse golden buds, sunflowers must be planted. But, if you want to plant sunflowers, you must have sunlight points. But, Su Lin doesn't have sunlight points now. This is really embarrassing. It seems that I can only find real sunflowers. Without sunlight points, Su Lin has no way to plant sunflowers by himself. Naturally, he can only find those real sunflowers. I remember Cheng Su. It seems that there are sunflowers planted. I can only pray. If he doesn't have any 40 sunflowers, one plant may still find 40 plants. After sighing, Su Lin had no choice but to get up and leave. Let's talk about it when we go back. I can only walk out of the tent. A piece of hot. Whether it is cleaning up the corpse or disinfecting the ground, these tasks can only be done by the living. Su Lin found Zhang and told her that he was going back. Zhang thanked him again and again, and then continued to busy herself. Looking around, there was no sign of the Thunder Eagle Kingdom. I think they have already gone back. Then, Su Lin came to the logistics side. Liang Crossing was still busy. Seeing her busy figure, Su Lin subconsciously smiled warmly. Finally, he came to Dr. Li Da. Hey, stop it. Li Da saw Su Lin coming and raised his hand to stop Su Lin from speaking. It can be seen that Li Da was also very tired. He was slumped in the recliner, swaying and enjoying it. Yesterday, he didn't know how many wounded he had treated all day. Now, I'm afraid he's tired even to talk. I'm tired enough, and I'm tired of being thanked. Li Da said. Besides, the one who should be thanked is you. It's useless for me to treat more wounded people. If we don't defeat those giant insects, mankind will only be doomed. So it's you who saved us, and we should be the ones to say thank you. Su Lin smiled awkwardly, scratched the back of his head, and complained directly. I'm not here to thank you. I'm here to complain about you. A quack doctor. Why don't you just treat me directly and make me unconscious for a whole night? Go away. Go. Go where you want to be cool. Don't come to treat me again. Li Da waved his hand. Su Lin also smiled, said goodbye, and then rode an off-road motorcycle, inexplicably on the entire plane. Chapter 213. Watching the heroes sail away. When the sound of the motorcycle bombed. When the whole plane roared. Everyone couldn't help but put down their work, stood up, and looked in the direction of the sound. Everything yesterday was vivid in my mind. It was this motorcycle. At the beginning, it rushed towards the giant insect swarm without hesitation. Then it transformed into a super large giant, the Jaw Titan and the Armored Titan to fight the insects. At the same time, it was also the owner of this motorcycle. When the big centipede appeared, it turned into the Monkey King Sun Wukong and killed the big centipede directly. It also captured the leader of the giant insect, the Ant-Man, alive. In the end, it can be said that the Emperor is used to command the princes and forced the giant insect tribe to retreat. This person is Su Lin. He is also the well-deserved hero of this war. Su Lin. Su Lin. Su Lin. Su Lin. Su Lin. How can a hero be an unknown person? Su Lin's name has long been heard by everyone. Everyone knows that this hero is called Su Lin. Everyone was cheering Su Lin's name, celebrating him, and thanking him. Those who stood in front of Su Lin and blocked his way also made way and lined up. They watched Su Lin leave respectfully. Such a scene made Su Lin a little embarrassed. He was just protecting his home and was not a hero. Finally, under the watchful eyes of everyone, Su Lin left the plane and returned to his farm. It was a bit depressed. It was very different from the feeling of returning to the farm before. Looking around, there were too few plants. The outer layer of the house was also a bit tattered. Even in a corner, you can see the decoration inside the house. Su Lin, who was not sure whether to laugh or cry, also came to Chen Zun, who was busy working beside the farmland. The zombie monsters didn't attack here? Chen Zun was startled, turned around slowly, and when he saw that it was Su Lin, he was relieved. You're back. Yes, they didn't attack here. Fortunately, Miss Liang brought some helpers here, otherwise I don't know how I would have spent last night. There's nothing I can do. The battle yesterday was too tragic. Miss Liang told us what happened to you. We are all very worried about you. Are you healed? Chen Zun asked with concern. Much better. I didn't suffer any injuries. I was just too tired and fell into a coma. Su Lin waved his hand, indicating that he was fine. That's good. We originally said we would go over to see how you were doing, but Miss Liang wouldn't let us go out no matter what, saying that it was the safest place here, and only here could you rest assured to recover from your illness. Then girl, Su Lin smiled. By the way, here you are. Su Lin took a look at the plant farm that Chen Zun was fiddling with. I don't know if it's because of the farmland, but the plants planted by Chen Zun grow at an amazing speed, as if they had taken super hormones. A seed took root and sprouted in a short while. Now it is thriving. How many sunflowers are there? There are many sunflowers on the side. They are also sunflowers. The ones on Chen Zun's side are much more normal. And the sunflowers planted by Su Lin, each one has a smile on his face, and he keeps swaying his body, as if dancing. 40. What's wrong? Give them all to me? Sure. Chen Zun nodded without hesitation. Oh. So straightforward? Aren't these plants your treasures? Su Lin asked back. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have this way now. To take care of the plants carefully, and only the soil here can grow healthy plants. Haha, thank you first. I'll go in first, and come out to talk later. The rumbling stomach reminded Su Lin that it would be better to eat as soon as possible. But before Su Lin pushed the door open, his friends inside came out. It seemed that they heard Su Lin's voice and rushed out to greet him. There was inevitably a wave of welcome and careful greetings. Looking at his friends in front of him, Su Lin also felt warm in his heart. Director Liu also put his hands on Su Lin's shoulders with some annoyance. How can you not call me for this kind of thing? Otherwise, you can capture all of us meant to serve as soldiers. Chunfeng City is also our city. Su Lin shrugged helplessly. Don't look at me like this. My fists are very powerful, and I have been teaching others fighting skills. Director Liu continued. Okay. Su Lin interrupted Director Liu. Next time, if possible. I hope there won't be a next time. Anyway, if there is a next time, I will definitely ask you for help. Brother Su Yue also pouted and walked forward. Sister Liang Crossing told me that the treasure chest is over there. She said she would let you open it after you come back. Su Yue pointed to the treasure chest stored in the corner next to her. Haha, dear sister, thank you, but don't you plan to prepare some rich food so that I can fill my stomach first? Oh. Su Yue nodded repeatedly. I'll prepare it now. After filling his stomach, Su Lin also slowly opened the treasure chest. One is 1000 sunlight points. The other is 100 gold coins. As for the third one, it is a new plant blueprint. The plant blueprint of guiding thistle. But now, there is no time to collect materials. I'm afraid I have to wait until tomorrow. When Su Lin opened the treasure chest, all these treasure chests turned into dust and disappeared directly. This is also the characteristic of the treasure chest. Seeing the treasure chest just turn into dust and disappear, people were not surprised. Perhaps after living in the farm, no matter how surprising something is, it is not a surprise. Then, Su Lin also walked out of the house and came to the outside of the farm. 40 sunflowers plus brighter than the sun equals golden buds. Originally thought that brighter than the sun was the most difficult material to obtain. Unexpectedly, Su Lin really collected it. Yesterday's strongest offensive allowed Su Lin to obtain the material brighter than the sun. On the contrary, these 40 sunflowers almost made Su Lin embarrassed. But, thanks to Chen Zun, the hard-working gardener, now, the two materials have been collected. Naturally, they are merged into new plants. Ding, congratulations on obtaining golden buds, 100 sunlight points, 100 experience points. Golden buds, disposable plants, immediately produce 375 sunlight points after planting, and then disappear. Chapter 214 Golden buds. Golden buds cannot be eaten, cannot be upgraded, and have no ultimate moves. They are a bit like energy flower and cherry bomb. They are all disposable plants. After planting, they disappear directly, and like energy flower, they have a very long cooldown time. Plant, golden bud, description, a disposable plant. After planting, it immediately produces 375 sunlight points and then disappears. Sunshine. 0 damage. 375 sun points, cooldown time. 75 seconds. Quality, white. You botanists always rack your brains to figure out whether you can do it. Golden buds words are not directed at anything or anyone, but you never stop to think about whether you should. Golden bud is a joyful plant. There are 3 golden flowers on its green body. 2 small feet support it, but it can also dance happily. It is the 3 golden flowers on its head that can produce 375 sunlight points at a time. This can be said to be a very terrible efficiency. Think about it. If it is the zero clearing mode, Su Lin planted this golden bud at the beginning. In an instant, 375 points of sunlight points burst out. Whatever you want, you have it. Adding the 150 points of sunlight points that came with it in the early stage, that is to say, Su Lin had 525 points of sunlight points at the beginning. Instantly became a small rich man. In addition to planting sunflowers at the beginning, Su Lin also has more choices and can even plant the ice fairy that consumes the most sunlight points at the moment. A powerful plant with 400 points of sunlight points, plant it at will. More importantly, the golden bud does not require any sunlight points to plant. No, it needs 0 sunlight points, but its cooling time is very exaggerated. Otherwise, Su Lin would not need to plant sunflowers. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the golden bud. Ding, please note that the golden bud cannot be used during the day. Fuck you. Hearing the system's trick, Su Lin cursed and didn't know how to relieve his anger. What's going on? Can't plant during the day. If you can plant, the farm's sunlight point production capacity will come to a very terrible situation. Ding, now you have 1 hour of golden buds and limited planting time. Please cherish it. Su Lin raised his eyebrows. 1 hour of unlimited planting time. That's better than nothing. Planting plants during the day ignores its cooling time. No wonder the system restricts the use of golden buds. If there is no restriction, Su Lin will find a special time to plant golden buds. Plant golden buds crazily and get sunlight points crazily. TSK, it's exciting to think about it. But in the current situation, even 1 hour is enough. Su Lin doesn't ask for much. It's enough to save all the sunlight points of the negative assets. Even in the normal starting state, Su Lin's demand for sunlight points is not that much. Plant golden buds. When the golden bud appeared in the first row of their array, it was like a newborn baby, full of curiosity and excitement about the whole world. Even though there were 3 golden buds on its head, it was afraid that it could not hold on with its 2 feet. But the golden bud still danced happily, dancing for life and everything. Ding ding dong. When the golden bud finished this joyful dance, it also turned into stars and disappeared. What was left was only a lot of sunshine points. Keep going. Su Lin waved his hand and continued to plant on the golden bud. Continuously planted sunshine buds. Planting a golden bud once can get 375 sunshine points. If you plant 10 plants, it will be 3750 sunshine points. 100 plants? That's more than 30,000 sunshine points. Su Lin probably owed 2.9 million sunshine points. If converted, probably, it needs to plant 10,000 golden buds. Fortunately, golden buds are one-time plants. After planting, they will disappear by themselves. Otherwise, Su Lin would have to help extract or eradicate, adding these trivial working hours. Who knows if this important task can be completed within an hour. Go, go, go. Seeing that the number of sunlight points owed was getting less and less, Su Lin became more and more excited. For a whole hour, he kept planting golden buds. Planting, generating sunlight points, disappearing, and continuing to plant. Finally, after about 55 minutes, Su Lin planted a full 10,000 golden buds. At the same time, he also planted all the sunlight points owed. In the remaining 5 minutes, Su Lin continued to plant. After exceeding the deficit line, he moved forward again, broke through the 0-word bald head, and obtained nearly 10,000 sunlight points. Ding, the infinite planting time is over. Ding, please note that you cannot plant golden buds during the day. Ding, congratulations on planting a certain plant for more than 10,000 times. You will be rewarded with 3,000 experience points, 3,000 sunshine points, and 3,000 gold coins. Ding, congratulations on upgrading. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the dress up privilege. Su Lin let out a long sigh. I didn't expect that, after planting a certain plant for more than 10,000 times, I would get some extra rewards. This rich experience value also directly helped Su Lin to upgrade again. System, Plants vs. Zombies level, Farm LV24, Plants, Sunflowers x3, Pea Shooter x1, Sunshine Points. 13,100, Planted Land. 45 Defense Value. 100 over 500, Experience Value. 113 over 2600, Abilities, Extraction, Gold Upgrade, Plant Possession, Battle Gold, Dress Up Privilege, Unlocked Plants, Sunflower, 2nd level, Pea Shooter, 4th level, Vertical Fruit, 3rd level, Potato Bud, 3rd level, Cabbage Shooter, 3rd level, Frozen Lettuce, 3rd level, Torch Stump, Charming Mushroom, Kiwi, 2nd level, Boomerang Shooter, K1, 2nd level, Energy Flower, Fire Dragon Grass, 3rd level, Cherry Bomb, 3rd level, Steel Ground Spike, 3rd level, Electric Green Tea, 3rd level, Corn Pitcher, 3rd level, Mistletoe Ice Fairy, 2nd level, Cactus, 3rd level, Lightning Reed, 3rd level, Ice Shooter, 4th level, Pumpkin Wizard, Reed Fighter, Toy Shooter, 3rd level, Pepper Shooter, 3rd level, Prism Grass, Primitive Sunflower, Golden Bud, Unlocked Blueprint, Guiding Thistle Item, Universal Material, Skill, Giant Power, Gold Coins. 45,260, LV24. There is one more level. It is LV25. Follow the system's previous prompts. At LV25, the entire farm will have a significant change. Su Lin also began to look forward to this so-called change. Finally, I'm no longer in debt. Fortunately, I got a chance to plant in the golden bud this time, and I have an hour of unlimited planting time. Otherwise, I don't know when I can go ashore. It seems that I have to pay more attention to the problem of brilliant light next time. Su Lin shook his head and decided to inform Director Liu and Liang Crossing about the brilliant light. In any case, you can come, but you still need Su Lin's consent to enter the room. He doesn't want to face such a problem again. Then the next step is planting. The first row was all arranged with sunflowers. Although the initial sunlight points generated by the original sunflower are more than ordinary sunflowers, but Su Lin's sunflower is a 2nd level sunflower, and there is a certain probability that it will break through its own limitations and produce more sunflowers. This alone is enough for Su Lin to make a choice. Su Lin planted sunflowers in the 1st row, the 2nd row, and even the 3rd row. In this way, you can continuously obtain sunlight points. Then, Su Lin chose nuts. The purpose of planting nuts is to extract them. Extract special materials that are hard enough to strengthen the defense of the farm. Plant continuously, and then extract. After the nuts are extracted into special materials, they are placed one by one on the damaged house, automatically merged in, thus becoming diamond bones again. After this operation, The defense value of the farm was also restored, and even a breakthrough was made. Looking at the house in front of him, which was renovated again, Su Lin couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. At least, all the work that should be done has been done. The next step is to plant sunflowers on most of the land, and continue to produce sunshine points with all your might. Then of course it is advancement. This is the first time I have so many gold coins. If I don't use them for advancement, what are I going to do with them? Question mark? Chapter 215 Continuous Advancement. System. Plants vs. Zombies level. Farm LV24. Plants. Sunflower X40. Pea shooter X5. Sunshine points. 12,100. Planting land. 45 defense value. 700 over 700. Experience value. 113 over 2600. Abilities. Extraction. Gold upgrade. Plant possession. Battle gold. Costume privileges. Unlocked plants. Sunflower. 2nd level. Pea shooter. 4th level. Vertical fruit. 3rd level. Potato bud. 3rd level. Cabbage shooter. 3rd level. Frozen lettuce. 3rd level. Torch stump. Charm mushroom. Kiwi. 2nd level. Boomerang shooter. K1. 2nd level. Energy flower. Fire dragon grass. 3rd level. Cherry bomb. 3rd level. Steel ground spike. 3rd level. Electric green tea. 3rd level. Corn pitcher. 3rd level. Mistletoe ice fairy. 2nd level. Cactus. 3rd level. Lightning reed. 3rd level. Ice shooter. 4th level. Pumpkin wizard. Reed fighter. Two-way shooter. 3rd level. Pepper shooter. 3rd level. Prism grass. Primitive sunflower. Golden bud. Unlocked blueprint. Guiding thistle item. Universal material. Skill. Giant power. Gold coins. 45,260. At this stage, Su Lin has a total of 2 plants, both of which are 4th level. One is the pea shooter, and the other is the ice shooter. The biggest difference between the 4th level plants and the 3rd level and lower plants is the planting big move. After planting, there is a certain chance to use the plant big move. To a certain extent, this is not only able to gain the advantage of first mover, but more importantly, it can be resurrected. Who cares? If you really encounter an unbeatable zombie enemy, at the same time, the land is already full of plants. First, eradicate a certain plant, and plant the 4th level plants at the same time. The next step is to do your best and leave it to fate. If you are lucky, you can directly trigger the big move, and save the situation. Unlucky? Just eradicate it, and plant it again. Cooling time. Then plant other 4th level plants. With this idea, Su Lin also advanced the lightning reed and cabbage pitcher to the 4th level. The big moves of these 2 plants have certain commonalities. That is, the big moves released have the ability to destroy the entire range. Unlike the pea shooter and the ice shooter, which can only attack the area they are in. Ding, congratulations on the successful advancement of the cabbage pitcher. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the cabbage pitcher. Level 4. Ding, congratulations on the successful advancement of the lightning reed. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the lightning reed. Level 4. Level 4 abilities are all ability awakening. There is a certain chance of releasing a big move when planting. Among them, the most special one is the lightning reed. After all, its ability also has a high energy lightning. There is a certain chance to paralyze the enemy. Keep going. In order to balance the current combat power, Su Lin also advanced other plants to the 3rd level. The number of gold coins required for the 4th level is too much. Su Lin was already satisfied with being able to advance 2 plants at a time. Now, let's put more energy on other plants. Pumpkin wizard, K1, mistletoe ice fairy, torchwood stump. Among them, K1 and ice fairy are both 2nd level plants. In order to strengthen their abilities, Su Lin also upgraded them to 3rd level plants. Ding, congratulations to K1 for successfully upgrading. Ding, congratulations to K1, 3rd level, for obtaining boxing training. K1's 2nd level ability was originally uppercut. It allows it to swing an uppercut after every 15 attacks. The uppercut can be called a killer punch. One punch can not only temporarily knock zombies away, but also cause great damage. Boxing training greatly increases the number of appearances of uppercut. Every time K1 swings an ordinary fist 8 times, it can directly trigger the uppercut. In other words, it greatly enhances K1's damage ability and also strengthens its endurance. That's right. Kill zombies faster and survive longer. As for the Ice Fairy, it's a pity. Even after advancing to the 3rd level, the Ice Fairy still did not gain any additional abilities. Ding, congratulations on your successful advancement. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the Mistletoe Ice Fairy, level 3, and gaining the ability Quick Energy Storage. This ability actually reduces the time it takes for the Ice Fairy to charge. It allows her to rub out the ice ball faster, allowing Su Lin to choose this ice ball to attack zombies. In other words, if the Ice Fairy does not have a 3rd level, then her practicality will be greatly reduced. After all, what the Ice Fairy is most praised for is her ice ball attack. But, ice balls need to be rubbed out. Only by reducing the time it takes to rub out ice balls can the Ice Fairy be better used in actual combat. As for the pumpkin pitcher and the torch crown, they are plants that started from 0. They were all 1st level plants before. Now that they have become 3rd level plants, the increase they have obtained is naturally the greatest. Ding, congratulations on your successful advancement. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the torch crown, level 2, and gaining the ability Strong Shield. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the torch crown, level 3, and gaining the ability Life Enhancement. The Strong Shield directly increased the health of the torch crown by 5 times. And the Life Enhancement is even more excessive, directly increasing the health of the torch crown again, this time by a full 15 times. 15 times the original health. Not to mention, there is also the increase in all attributes that will be obtained when the plant advances. Originally, the torch crown needed to be matched with the pea family. The flame pea is definitely the main attacker to kill zombies. But the health of the torch tree has always been a bit. It can even be described as trashy. Now it has been upgraded and strengthened. The flame crown can even be planted in the front row and act as a shield type plant. Anyway, the health has been increased by 15 times. Just put it there, and let the zombies eat it slowly. Ding, congratulations on the successful advancement. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the Pumpkin Wizard, level 2, and obtaining the Strength Technique. Ding, congratulations on obtaining Pumpkin Wizard, level 3, and obtaining Extreme Magic. The Strengthening Technique, as the name suggests, is literally what it means. It can strengthen the puppet zombies controlled by the Pumpkin Wizard. It makes the zombies controlled by the pumpkin bigger, and also increases the damage of the controlled zombies. The Extreme Magic is a reinforcement of the Strengthening Technique. It increases the effect of the Strengthening Technique by 100%. In this way, every time the zombies controlled by the Pumpkin Wizard are strong, scary, and extremely powerful zombies. If they are dragged out, they are just a group of big bodyguards. After the advancement, Su Lin couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Then he checked the effect description of the dressing privilege. Just now, after planting the golden buds more than 10,000 times, in addition to the experience and other rewards, this ability was also rewarded. You don't know until you see it, and you'll be shocked when you see it. Su Lin was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Article 216 Dress Up Ability. Dressing Privilege. This special ability. It is that Su Lin can directly check the various dressing abilities of the plants he owns. He can dress up directly according to the items required for the dress up, so as to obtain additional abilities. In fact, it is equivalent to improving the ability of the plant again. And there is no need for too many procedures. There is no need to find materials like fusing plants. There is no need to use gold coins to advance like advancing plants. For example, sunflowers. It has a dressing, that is, sunglasses. Su Lin only needs to find sunglasses and use them directly on the sunflower, and he can directly obtain the sunglasses dress. As for what ability the sunflower wearing sunglasses will get, that is, The ultimate move has a certain probability of obtaining a small amount of gold coins. There are restrictions on the items that can be dressed up for each plant, and Su Lin still needs to find them according to the regulations of the system. Anyway, there is still some time before sunset. I will see what I can find in the house. Su Lin smiled and walked into the house immediately. Then he hand-copied a list of the dressing items of the plants he currently owned. He gave these notes to his companions in the house one by one. Strength lies in numbers. Let them search the house first. Su Lin's method also achieved great results. Soon, his companions came with a lot of harvest. Many items came into view. Haha, strength lies in numbers. Thank you. Let me see what else there are. There are certain restrictions on the items that can be decorated for each plant, and there are often more than one. There are 4 kinds of dressing items at most. What to use depends on luck and what the items are. He operated like a tiger. Su Lin directly used all the dressing items he got. They are pea shooter, who got the crown. This crown was found by Su Yue in the library. It was something in a cartoon handmade book. After tearing out the colored paper, it was directly stacked into a cartoon forget light. After dressing up, the special ability of the pea shooter is that his ultimate move will spit out large peas. Although the number is not as good as the multiple pea bursts when he is not dressed up, but the large peas will naturally increase the attack power a lot. And after wearing the crown, the pea shooter also has a kind of aura that he is the only one in the world. The cabbage pitcher is also a crown, but it is a ring-shaped crown. It was also found by Su Yue in the library. How to say it? It feels like the pea shooter is the king and the cabbage pitcher is the queen. They have become a CP inexplicably after dressing up with this ring-shaped crown. The attribute gain obtained by the cabbage pitcher is the ultimate move can throw out lightning cabbage. In the case of the original cabbage ultimate move, the damage is additionally increased. The sunflower also wears sunglasses. When using the ultimate move, there is a certain probability of generating a small amount of gold coins. Although there is the temptation of gold coins. But Su Lin rarely uses his precious energy beans to produce sunlight points. But anyway, the sunflower with sunglasses also has a kind of cold aura. After all, the original sunflower has big watery eyes, and after wearing the sunflower, it adds a cold style. Potato mine is a ninja turtle eye mask. The ultimate move can split an extra potato mine. Torch stump is a bit funny. It is also a pair of glasses, but it is indeed the star-shaped glasses. After wearing them, it has a kind of silly boy's aura. After wearing the star-shaped glasses, its ultimate move is directly transformed into a purple stump. K1. It is a champion belt. The ultimate move can release a whirlwind fist to attack zombies in a large area. And lightning reeds is a lampshade. After the purple lampshade is put on, it makes lightning reed look a bit stupid. But the increase brought to lightning reed is hard to describe in words. Its ultimate move can generate a huge thundercloud to attack zombies within sight. It continues uninterruptedly. If in normal state, the ultimate move released by lightning reed is to release a small dark cloud, and then release the dark cloud by constantly moving to attack the enemy. After the lampshade hat is installed, this dark cloud no longer needs to move, because it is a whole large dark cloud. Shrouded in the air, wherever there is a zombie, it will directly release a lightning bolt to that place, electrocuting it to a crisp on the outside and tender on the inside. Obviously, the most intuitive function of all the costume items, in addition to dressing up the plants, is reflected in the ultimate move. The characteristics of the ultimate move can be strengthened to varying degrees. It can be said to be upgraded to a half level. More importantly, it can be obtained without paying any price. All the costume items are things that can be found in reality and do not require material fusion or gold coins. Frozen lettuce is a retro earmuffs. Its ability is that its ultimate move, in addition to freezing all zombies, can also throw snowballs for attack. For Nut, it is a small red bow tie. As for the costume, its ultimate move is simply a dramatic change. The ordinary ultimate move is just to turn into an iron skin full, strengthening its defense ability. After wearing the small bow tie, Nut will wear a colorful and beautiful armor. This colorful armor is not only pleasing to the eye in appearance, it also improves a lot of defense. It has become a colorful fool. Cherry Bomb has a black hat and sunglasses. After the costume, Cherry Bomb has a little more gangster temperament. It is not easy to mess with it at first glance. After becoming a gangster Cherry, its ability is that after the ultimate move kills the zombies, it can get sunshine points. Among them, the most excessive can be said to be the Ice Fairy. After all, the Ice Fairy is a beautiful girl. The required costume is also a red big firework. The big firework hair accessory pinned on the hair. In terms of costume, its ultimate move has a certain chance to release ice meteorites, and when the ice meteorites fall, they leave behind ice pits to cause continuous damage to zombies and slow down the zombies. Although Su Lin didn't know what kind of zombies could be unscathed by the Ice Fairy's ultimate move. Although giant zombies and zombies above level 3 can. Hahaha, why bother so much? Just wait patiently for the zombies to come. Time ticked by. The knock on the door came as expected. Chapter 217. Long Lost Zombies. Su Lin took a deep breath. He said to himself, yesterday, there was nothing I could do. Today, I'll continue to meet you. After that, Su Lin opened the door and left. Prepare for tonight's battle. Ding, the 17th level. Zombies are coming. Please be prepared. The number of zombies 30 ding. Please note that this level is in zero clearing mode. Last night was the 16th level, so today is the 17th level. As always, it's zero clearing mode. Fortunately there is no limited mode or fixed mode. In terms of plant matching, it can be said to be free. System, Plants vs. Zombies level, Farm LV24, Plants, Sunflowers X40, Pea Shooter X5, cleared, Sunshine points. 12,100, cleared, planted land. 45 defense value. 700 over 700, experience value. 113 over 2600, abilities, extraction, gold upgrade, plant possession, battle gold, dress up privileges, unlocked plants, sunflower, 2nd level, pea shooter, 4th level, vertical fruit, 3rd level, potato bud, 3rd level, cabbage shooter, 4th level, frozen lettuce, 3rd level, torch stump, 3rd level, charm mushroom, kiwi, 2nd level, boomerang shooter, K1, 3rd level, energy flower, fire dragon grass, 3rd level, cherry bomb, 3rd level, steel ground spike, 3rd level, electric green tea, 3rd level, corn pitcher, 3rd level, mistletoe ice fairy, 3rd level, cactus, 3rd level, lightning reed, 4th level, ice shooter, 4th level, pumpkin wizard, 3rd level, reed fighter, two-way shooter, 3rd level, pepper shooter, 3rd level, prism grass, original sunflower, golden bud, unlocked blueprint, guiding thistle, item, universal material, decorated plants, pea shooter, cabbage shooter, frozen lettuce, nuts, mistletoe ice fairy, vegetable question, lightning reed, flame tree crown, sunflower, potato bud, cherry bomb, skill, giant power, gold coins. 1130 obviously. At this stage, plants with decorations and 4th level plants have become Su Lin's first choice. Then come on. Stinky zombies. Ding, please pay attention. New zombies are coming. Cloak zombies. Chicken zombies. The arrival of new zombies is not a big deal. The only thing that worries Su Lin is that the zombies that appear now have a certain chance of being 3rd level zombies. 3rd level zombies are tricky. In the previous levels, when encountering 3rd level zombies, even 4th level plants will take some time to defeat them. No matter so much. Su Lin waved his hand and started planting sunflowers in the 2nd row. After all, there are gold digging zombies in these levels now. If you can't defeat it when it just appears, wait until its firecrackers are successfully detonated. It will jump directly to the rear of the plants. Because of the existence of the gold digging zombie, Su Lin had to move the front line forward 1 row. Just when he spent 50 points of sunlight and planted the sunflower and only had 100 points of sunlight left, unexpectedly, zombies appeared directly. This can be said to be very exciting. I didn't expect that it is still popular to attack first and catch people off guard. Zombies appeared before the defense line was built. However, Su Lin planted the second plant, the golden bud, without panic. Ding ding dong. 375 points of sunlight were obtained. With 475 points of sunlight at once. No matter how many zombies come, I'm not afraid. The iron bucket zombie appeared in area B. Su Lin also planted a lightning reed and attacked it directly. In order to deal with the next chicken thief zombie, lightning reed can be said to be the absolute main force of this level. Even though the lightning reed has a regional range attack, Su Lin has arranged all the areas. Continue. Sunflowers in the second row of area B. At this time, the Shandian road in the third row of area B has begun to fight against the iron bucket zombie in the distance ahead. The attack and defense attributes of the third level iron bucket zombie are far beyond Su Lin's imagination. In addition, the characteristics of the lightning reed are mainly an attack speed, range attack, and paralysis effect. The attack power is still a bit shabby. As a last resort, Su Lin had to plant two-way pitcher in the first row of area B with the help of the two-way pitcher. Su Lin no longer needs to be distracted too much in area B soon. Su Lin also planted sunflowers in the second row. The first row of areas B, C, and D are all planted with two-way pitcher. If the Gold Rush zombie appears, Su Lin is not afraid. The Gold Rush zombie is also very respectful. 3 gold rushing zombies appeared in areas B, C, and D when the gold digging zombie jumped in front. The plants also launched attacks. However, when the gold digging zombie passed the 9th row and came to the 8th row, boom, the firecrackers exploded. With the strong impact, the gold digging zombie jumped up, jumped over the many plants in front, and came to the back of the plants. Next, it was the performance time of the double shooter. The front P's of the double shooter were working. When it sensed that there were zombies behind, the rear P's also began to be busy. After a burst of puffs, it triggered the second level ability Ice P. It sprayed Ice P's to the back. After being hit by the Ice P's, the pace of the gold digging zombie slowed down a lot. It swung up and attacked the double shooter with its claws, but it couldn't attack it, as if it was doing slow motion. The cooling time is up. Su Lin also planted lightning reeds again. The third row of area A. Unexpectedly, this planting would directly trigger the ultimate move. Zzz. A large dark cloud appeared out of thin air, covering the entire farm. Lightning and thunder, falling from the sky, hit the heads of the zombies that appeared one by one. Even the gold digging zombie that jumped to the first row. This really confused the gold digging zombie. Originally, the gold digging zombie thought that his ability to jump to the rear would make Su Lin panic. But he didn't expect that there was a two-way shooter that could attack the plants in the rear. That's fine. Now there is an additional lightning reed? Question mark? Or a lightning reed that is dressed up as a lampshade and can use the ultimate move of dark cloud and thunder? Question mark? The full range attack directly destroyed the 3 gold digging zombies that jumped to the first row. Chapter 218, Effects of Decorating Plants. I'm afraid that the gold digging zombies don't know how to describe their mood except depressed. Seeing that the situation is very good, the smile on Su Lin's mouth became brighter and brighter. But as the saying goes, the faster you get proud, the faster you will be sad. In the distance, a group of zombies came. They occupied 5 major areas. When Su Lin saw them appear, the smile on his mouth gradually dissipated, and only helplessness remained. He immediately stared at the cooling time of the lightning reed. When its cooling time was over, he threw his hands and planted it again. Unfortunately, this time the planting move was not triggered. But correspondingly, in this way, Su Lin also planted lightning reeds in all areas. For the upcoming new zombies, we have made sufficient preparations. Chicken thief zombies. Once the packing rope is broken, a cage of chickens will be released. These zombies are sneaky. They are even more punk brown hair, with chickens and big white roosters pinned on their bodies. The chicken zombie published its 4th ornithology paper, and after 4 years of hard work studying hadron collisions, it finally mastered the secret of bringing fried chicken nuggets back to life. To be honest, the chicken zombie is not difficult to deal with. It only takes a few attacks from the plants to kill it. When their feet stepped into the 9th row, they were immediately attacked like a devastating attack. In a few steps, they only lasted 1 row before they died. The most difficult thing to deal with is naturally the chain reaction when the chicken zombie dies. With the death of the chicken zombie, the ropes on its body, the ropes that tied the roosters, broke directly. Nearly 10 roosters, as if they were reborn and free again. In fact, the roosters are really nothing. They can be killed in a few or 3 attacks. But their speed is too fast. They can be called the fastest zombies. As soon as their feet landed, they immediately rushed towards the house. Like a flash of lightning. Directly bombed it. At this time, it would be difficult to deal with any plant, and it could only attack once or twice. When it attacked, it would rush to the front of it and use the sharp beak of the big rooster to eat the plants crazily. It would take only 2 or 3 times to eat a plant. Of course, it would be fine if it was just 1 or 2. This is a large group of zombies coming. Come on, Lightning Reed. Lightning Reed was also commissioned in times of crisis. It knew that it was the best choice to deal with the thief zombies. Immediately, it was full of strength and released a series of lightnings in front. The attack speed of Lightning Reed was fast, and it passed by with a sizzle. In addition, it could not only paralyze zombies, but also trigger chain attacks. A lightning flashed by, and while hitting the first big rooster, it also burst into a chain of lightning, hitting the big rooster next to it and behind it. These big roosters might have wanted to curse in their hearts. After waiting for the cunning chicken zombie to die, he finally broke free from the shackles of the cunning chicken zombie, and was able to show his strength. So he rushed forward like a starving ghost. Unexpectedly, as soon as he went out, he was greeted by thunder and lightning. He was electrocuted so hard that he was burnt on the outside and tender on the inside. There were probably 40 or 50 big roosters in all areas. But under the electric net, composed of lightning reeds, no one was caught. In addition, Su Lin planted more cabbage shooters. At the same time, its planting skill was triggered. With a sound of BIU, several cabbages were shot out from the cabbage forehead. It was still the special cabbage wrapped in thunder and lightning. Finally, when the last big rooster broke through the defense line and sprinted to the front of the lightning reed, it could see the appearance of this plant that could not be opened by 10,000 men. It was really handsome, tall and thin, and very slender. Unfortunately, his forehead was pinched, and he was wearing an ugly lampshade. Seeing that all the chicken thief zombies and the big rooster were successfully dealt with, Su Lin couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Sure enough, using the lightning reed in such a level was the right choice. Not to mention upgrading the lightning reed to a level 4 plant. Just as Su Lin breathed a sigh of relief, in Area C, a zombie slowly came. A new type of zombie, the cloak zombie. This zombie has a western cowboy style. You can tell by the heroic way it walks. The fireplace cover is his favorite, so he put on a cloak to protect the fireplace cover from rust. In addition, he is looking for a robot horse that matches the fireplace cover. The cloak zombie, with a western cowboy hat on his head and a cloak on his body. Inside the cloak, there is a hard steel plate. Such a steel plate also gives the cloak zombie full defense. If we only rely on lightning reed, we may not be able to penetrate the defense of the cloaked zombie. We must continue to strengthen the defense of plants. Originally, Su Lin planned to plant the torch crown in the 4th row of Area C. After all, there is a two-way shooter in the 1st row of Area C. The peas it shoots can also turn into flame peas when passing through the torch crown. But the two-way shooter is originally a 3rd level plant. Its front peas also have a certain probability of launching flame peas. At this time, there is no need to join in the fun. It is better to. Coincidentally, many zombies have emerged in other areas. Not only are there cloaked zombies and chicken zombies, but in Area B, there are also piano zombies that can crush all plants and control zombies to take other routes. In this case, hey, there happens to be energy beans. In the end, Su Lin also planted K-Wen in the 8th row of Area C at the same time. He used an energy beam on K-Wen. It was like the gravity of a black hole. K-Wen exerted his strength and sucked in the zombies next to him. That is, all the zombies in all the areas. The zombies in all the areas, from the 9th row to the 7th row, were all sucked in. This attraction was irresistible, unless it was a giant zombie. Otherwise, the other zombies would have only one end. That was to be sucked in. And then there was a meal of ala ala ala. K1 swung his fists in all directions, and the fist wind formed even covered the area around it. 5 areas, and 3 rows of land. Originally, K1's big move was not so exaggerated. At most, it was a 3x3 area, and it was a meal of damn you damn you damn. It couldn't suck in the surrounding zombies, and then damn you damn them. K1, who was dressed in the champion belt, was indeed different. You can tell that he is an expert when he makes a move. Chapter 219. Muda. Ala. Under K1's muda and oh you la. Obviously, basically no zombie can survive. The only one who can survive is a cloak zombie. Su Lin really has to sigh. It really deserves to be a 3rd level zombie. Even in this state, it is still not dead. However, this cloak zombie is already dying soon. Not only did the most beloved cloak fly away, even the large steel plate hidden under the cloak was hit by K1, and a hole was left. I'm afraid that the wind will blow the large steel plate directly away. Just when the cloak zombie thought that he had finally survived this most difficult level and could continue to move forward. Sorry, K1 is still blocking it. After all, when K1 used the ultimate move just now, he sucked all the zombies in the area. Even if he survived, he could only continue to move forward from the C area where K1 was. K1, who had just used his ultimate move, did not feel exhausted at all. He was eager to try his hand at the enemy in front of him. He swung left and right flexibly and threw a fist. Bang. Another fist was thrown. Bang. With a snap, when the 4th fist was thrown, the steel plate of the cloaked zombie was directly shattered. A bald zombie was left behind. K1 did not hesitate at all and followed up with an uppercut, ending the battle perfectly. Ding. Please pay attention. The last wave of zombies is coming. Please be careful of your head. Don't let the zombies eat it. Eaten? That's absolutely impossible. Now the victory is still in hand. Whether it is the two-way pitcher used to guard against the gold-digging zombies, it has already taken shape. At the same time, the lightning reeds that give the zombies a shock treatment and the special chicken zombies are also lined up, just waiting for the so-called last wave of zombies. Not to mention K1 in the 8th row. As long as you don't encounter the piano zombie that can crush any plant, that K1 is an absolutely safe and terrifying existence. He threw a few punches and an uppercut, teaching the zombies how to be human. However, it was as if he wanted to disgust Su Lin's self-confidence. The lineup of this last wave of zombies was really a bit too much. Not to mention the gold-digging zombies that appeared at the same time. There were 5 of them. There were 5 chicken zombies alone, and even 3 piano zombies and cloak zombies. Hey, I'll give you a welcome gift first. Su Lin grinned, and then used the energy beans again on the ice fairy that had just been planted. The ice fairy, wearing a red big firework hairband, added a little bit of cuteness to her cold and noble appearance. And this cuteness brought more unparalleled lethality. Big move. Start. Originally, the ice fairy's big move was at most to release ice balls falling from the sky and smashing them at various zombies. After dressing up with a red big firework hairband, the power of her ultimate move was no longer an ice ball, but an ice cone. A big ice cone. The ice cones that fell from the sky hit the zombies' heads one by one. Finally, they left streaks of ice on the ground. They kept slowing down the pace of the zombies that survived, making them move slowly, allowing the plants in the back row to attack the zombies. Although under the ultimate move of the ice fairy, few zombies could survive. The trend of the battle was similar to what Su Lin expected. It can even be said that, since the lightning reed defense line was established, these zombies will inevitably be unlucky. Lightning reed has a chain attack and a paralysis effect. Once attacked by lightning reed, it is just adding insult to injury for the zombies, and they can only continue to stagger forward. In the end, the strongest one is the cloaked zombie in area B. It only moved forward to the 5th row, and then was killed by the fire P of the two-way shooter. It died with unwilling shame. Ding. Congratulations on clearing the 17th level. Ding. Cleared successfully and obtained 1000 sunshine points. Ding. Obtained 1600 experience points. Ding. Obtained 800 gold coins. Ding. Congratulations on unlocking the holographic nut, but it didn't upgrade. Su Lin shrugged. He was not nervous. Either tomorrow night or the day after tomorrow, he would eventually reach LV25. He was also looking forward to the so-called LV25. What a big change the farm will have. His strong intuition told him, at LV25, the farm will definitely have unexpected changes. In short, just look forward to it now. After extracting all the plants together, Su Lin directly deployed troops on the farm. In fact, it was just planting all sunflowers and letting the pea shooter act as a gatekeeper. System: Plants vs. Zombies level, Farm LV24, Plants, Sunflower x40, Pea shooter x5, Sunshine points. 13,100, Planting land. 45 defense value. 700 over 700, Experience value. 1783/2600, Abilities, Extraction, Gold upgrade, Plant possession, Battle gold, Costume privileges, Unlocked plants, Sunflower, 2nd level, Pea shooter, 4th level, Vertical fruit, 3rd level. Potato bud, 3rd level, Cabbage shooter, 4th level, Frozen lettuce, 3rd level, Torch stump, 3rd level, Charm mushroom, Kiwi, 2nd level, Boomerang shooter, K1, 3rd level, Energy flower, Fire dragon grass, 3rd level, Cherry bomb, 3rd level. Steel ground spike, 3rd level, Electric green tea, 3rd level, Corn pitcher, 3rd level, Mistletoe ice fairy, 3rd level, Cactus, 3rd level, Lightning reed, 4th level, Ice shooter, 4th level, Pumpkin wizard, 3rd level. Reed fighter, Two-way shooter, 3rd level, Pepper shooter, 3rd level, Prism grass, Original sunflower, Golden bud, Unlocked blueprints. Guiding thistle, Holographic nuts, Items, Universal materials, Decorated plants, Pea shooter, Cabbage shooter, Frozen lettuce, Nuts, Mistletoe ice fairy, Vegetable question, Lightning reed, Flame tree crown, Sunflower, Potato bud, Cherry bomb, Skill, Giant power, Gold coins. 1930, the next is the most exciting moment. Looking at the 2 treasure chests in front, Su Lin also began to look forward to what will be inside. Although he already has the tactical cucumber, it is reasonable to say that he should be desireless. But what should be expected will still be expected. Go forward and open. Ding, congratulations on obtaining the tactical cucumber. Chapter 220 Fang Lel's Inferiority Complex. Looking at the cucumber in the treasure chest, Su Lin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He really liked the tactical cucumber the most, but he already had one. 2 is enough. This way, we will be more confident against that powerful creature. But what am I expecting? Su Lin smiled helplessly. Perhaps this level was too smooth. He relaxed his vigilance and even began to dislike such a heavy item as the tactical cucumber. You know, when there was no tactical cucumber, he was looking forward to seeing this green and yellow, slightly curved toy. Yes, it was a toy. Thinking of the word toy, Su Lin couldn't help but smirk. But the smirk only lasted for a while. He immediately shook his head repeatedly and threw away those dirty thoughts in his mind. The second treasure chest was also opened. Old items. Sunlight teleportation array. In this way, Su Lin has a total of 3 sunlight teleportation arrays. One is on the survival farm, and the other is still in Orange County. If he sets up one place now, he can achieve infinite teleportation in 3 places at the same time. Just thinking about it makes me happy. However, Su Lin still plans to carry this teleportation array with him. When encountering some emergencies, he can directly set it up successfully on the spot and teleport away. I don't know whether to take back the teleportation array in Orange County. Logically speaking, I basically won't go to that place anymore. Forget it. Keep it for now. According to the intelligence, the bugs are going to ravage there again, so I won't go there to join in the fun. After showing an indifferent smile, Su Lin turned around and went back to the house. It was pitch black. His friends had gone to bed long ago. Su Lin smiled. He had long been accustomed to this situation. When he was about to go to the kitchen to make some midnight snacks, he was surprised to find that a light was on in the kitchen. When he walked up to take a look, he realized that it was the refrigerator light, and the refrigerator was opened. A figure was busy in front of the refrigerator. Why don't you turn on the light? Su Lin turned on the light casually, while the figure took a few steps back from the refrigerator in surprise and looked at Su Lin. You scared me to death. I was scared to death by you, Fang Lel. Su Lin rolled his eyes. Fang Lel at this time was wearing a thin lace pajamas. She was looming and full of all kinds of mysteries. Perhaps it was because Fang Lel's figure was too hot. Su Lin also subconsciously glanced away, not daring to continue looking at Fang Lel. Fang Lel was hungry and wanted to get up to find something to eat. Seeing that Su Lin was still busy outside, he didn't bother Su Lin. But now seeing Su Lin's slightly shy look, Fang Lel also became a little interested. She planned to tease the man in front of her. What? Fang Lel walked forward, stretched out her hand, and hung it on the edge of the table next to her, revealing her shoulders. Are you not used to your sister being so hot? You don't even dare to look at your sister? Ahem. After hearing this, Su Lin's mouth twitched, and after shrugged helplessly, he stretched out his hand, pushed Fang Lel away, and walked straight to the refrigerator. I'm just hungry and want to eat something. Ouch. Fang Lel was not discouraged by Su Lin's performance just now. She continued to muster up her courage, slipped in front of Su Lin, and directly hung her hand on Su Lin's shoulder, pretending to be coquettish and said, "Don't say that. Speaking of which, I have settled down here. I have too." Fang Lel bent down slightly, showing off her proud capital. "I have to pay some rent, right? Fang Lel." Su Lin stretched out his hand and slapped Fang Lel's hand away, and said coldly, "Did you take the wrong medicine today? I should have said that. If I take you in, you must abide by my rules." Obviously, Su Lin was a little annoyed. He really didn't like the kind of transaction outside. Simply put, it was human flesh trade. Women provide beauty, and men provide supplies. Although Su Lin also believes in the rule of survival of the fittest. But this is not survival of the fittest at all, but taking advantage of the fire. He couldn't control what was going on outside. The only thing he could control was his territory, his survival farm. He didn't want the survival farm to become such a hell on earth. Noticing that Su Lin was a little annoyed, Fang Lel couldn't help but pursed her lips, with an embarrassed look on her face, and more ashamed. She lowered her head, not daring to stare at Su Lin's stern eyes. In the end, it was she who broke the silence and embarrassment. Su Lin. I didn't mean that. Fang Lel sighed helplessly. She didn't know what happened just now. Was there something wrong with her brain? Why would she do such a thing? Was it to tease? Was it for fun? Or was it because she liked Su Lin? Or was it because Liang Crossing came with a large group of people last night and guarded the survival farm in Su Lin's absence, and she was jealous and resentful? Thinking of this terrible thought, Fang Lel shook her head repeatedly. Then what's wrong with you? You'd better give me an answer. Su Lin was still stern. Well, looking at Su Lin's serious expression, Fang Lel had no choice but to tell it all. If she felt resentful because of this, then she might not be able to stay here, in this harmonious paradise. I don't know what happened. Maybe it's because Miss Liang Crossing came last night. Seeing her with helpers, fighting zombies for you outside, and protecting the farm. I don't know why. I just feel resentful and envious. Yes, it's like throwing a broken jar. Now that he has decided to make it clear, Fang Lel continued. Su Lin. As if he had mustered up great courage. Fang Lel's eyes were full of determination. I live in such a safe place. I feel unworthy of it. I'm not as ambitious as Miss Liang Crossing. In the end, I can only repay you in the best way I can. I feel that, if I don't do this, I won't be able to stay here with peace of mind. I'm sorry. I just don't know what to do for the moment. What should I do to make myself accept the fact that I'm so mediocre and incompetent? Hearing this, Su Lin also smiled bitterly. He stretched out his hand helplessly and touched Fang Lel, who lowered his head. I don't know what you went through at the airport. I can only say, welcome to the survival farm. Su Lin smiled faintly and comforted. Chapter 221 Encouragement. You don't need to compare yourself with Liang Crossing. She is a strong-willed person, and she has a broad mind and great ambitions. All I can say is that everyone has their own aspirations. Take your time. You have just been here not long. You will need some time to adapt. I believe, no, it should be, that you will definitely find your own position here in the survival farm. Like Su Yue and Lin Xiaoyan, the two of them are basically responsible for everyone's daily life. As for Chen Zun, he just needs to take care of his own botanical garden and take care of the plants I planted, although he doesn't have to. Like Director Liu, he is naturally the force man. He can also teach us some boxing and kicking skills, and also some self-defense skills. As for Zhang Jiajia, just treat him as a passerby. Hahaha, just kidding. All the hard work here is basically contracted by him. Su Lin also did his best to comfort Fang Lel. Under the same roof, and Fang Lel had helped him find the plant fusion material by chance before. If possible, Su Lin still hoped that everyone could get along well. So, take your time, you will definitely be able to find your own value. Really? Fang Lel said in a crying voice. Really? I'm really not a useless waste? Really, believe me, Su, never lie. Su Lin stretched out his hand and patted her shoulder heavily. Okay, it's getting late. I'm going to sleep first. You eat slowly. After that, Su Lin also took the bottle of milk and left. Fang Lel was left staring at Su Lin's back. I don't know why. In Fang Lel's heart, Su Lin's figure has become taller again. In a trance, Fang Lel seemed to see the image of a hero who stood alone in a sea of thousands of troops. Finally, Fang Lel also returned to the bedroom, with all kinds of thoughts and a determination to change, and fell asleep. As for Su Lin, he also entered the dream a long time ago. I was already exhausted today, even though I had been unconscious for a day and a night, and seemed to have recovered sufficiently. It would take more than a day or two to recover physically and mentally. Fighting against the giant insect army, knowing the insect conspiracy, and fighting against zombies at night. All these things, like sleeping pills, made Su Lin fall asleep as soon as he touched the bed. He slept until noon the next day. Su Lin yawned and walked downstairs slowly. His friends were also busy with their own things. When Fang Lel realized that Su Lin had come downstairs, he also looked at Su Lin. Su Lin, are you awake? Yeah, good morning. Su Lin nodded and couldn't help but raise his eyebrows, because Fang Lel had a different kind of change. It is difficult to describe the feeling of this change in words. In short, it is a change from the inside out. It should be, because Su Lin's words last night worked. Fang Lel was no longer so inferior, so he had his own ideas and thoughts. Thank you. Fang Lel nodded to Su Lin. Su Lin also smiled faintly and came to her. It's boring to say these things. I told you last night that you are welcome to the survival farm. Anyway, I'm also looking forward to everything you do next. Come on. Of course. Fang Lel blinked. But Su Yue, who was standing aside, was also secretly watching her brother and Fang Lel's interaction. She frowned, a little surprised, and muttered to herself, what's going on? When did brother get so close to Fang Lel? Then, what about sister Liang crossing? Thinking of this, Su Yue also walked forward and interrupted the conversation between the two. Brother, come and eat. Hurry up, don't starve yourself. Su Yue dragged Su Lin away without saying a word. Okay. Su Lin didn't care and let Su Yue drag him away. As they passed by, Su Yue subconsciously stuck out her pink tongue, made a face, and whispered an apology. I'm sorry, Sister Fang Lel. Fang Lel didn't care about this little episode. She just wanted to express her gratitude to Su Lin sincerely. She didn't care much about Su Yue dragging Su Lin away so directly. As for a straight man like Su Lin, he was naturally confused and had no idea what was going on. After a full meal and a short rest, Su Lin was ready to go out and collect materials as usual. Everyone, I'm leaving. You guys take your time. After waving his hand and saying goodbye to his friends, Su Lin walked out of the house. Just as he thought, Chen Zun, still staring at the scorching sun, was taking care of the plants he planted outside the house. Originally, when Su Lin saw Chen Zun in the house, he guessed that this guy must be outside. Sure enough, it was as expected. Su Lin shook his head and walked forward. Chen Zun, are you busy with these plants again? Oh, Su Lin? Yes, I gave you the sunflowers yesterday. Now that the sun is strong, I just came here to replant them. Why do I feel like you are tinkering with these things every day? I like to tinker with these things. Besides, if it weren't for you, this auspicious treasure land, who knows where else I can be so busy now. That's right, Su Lin nodded in agreement. Then, he also glanced at what materials he was going to collect today. A nut plus holographic projection equals holographic nut. Kohlrabi plus the finger of the boomerang world champion equals guide fossil. Nuts, easy, just plant them. But this so-called holographic projection. Let's wait and see. Who knows which scientific laboratories with many instruments still have this thing. As for guide fossil and Kohlrabi, look for it, or you can ask Chen Zun. But this, the so-called fingers of the boomerang world champion. This is really a mouthful. Boomerang world champion. Su Lin had already looked up the identity of this person through the computer. He is a foreigner. A beautiful countryman. Now, or before, he lived in the beautiful country. But now, his life or death is uncertain. God knows if he is already dead, the kind that has turned into mud. As for the so-called finger, after going through this, if he can find the world champion, Su Lin can naturally muster up the courage to chop off his finger with a knife. Everything is to enhance his own strength. In short, Su Lin pursed his lips. We still have to find that person first, but I don't know if he is dead or not. Ding, all the collected materials can be found. Please don't question it. Chapter 222, Heroes, Return to the City. The sudden voice of the system resounded in Su Lin's mind. It was so sudden that it scared Su Lin. Damn. System, you scared me to death. Ding, it's because you questioned the existence of the material. TSK. Su Lin rolled his eyes. As for the material, he had been tossed around for a long time. What kind of strange material? Even the material that can be driven directly to the highway after locking the car door, stepping on the accelerator. He has seen them all. In addition to complaining about the rogue of the system in his heart, Su Lin seemed to have no other way. Since it is confirmed that this person is alive, let's talk about it first. Su Lin rolled his eyes. I can also not look for him, just use the universal material directly. After a long time, the system still did not respond. Su Lin shrugged his shoulders, as if he was asking for trouble. By the way, Chen Zun, do you grow kohlrabi? Yes. Okay, give me one. Yes. Chen Zhu walked away and handed the kohlrabi that Su Lin needed to Su Lin. Thank you, you can continue to grow it. The quantity is not important. It's better to have more varieties. It's best to grow all the plants in the world. Haha, try your best. Chen Zun scratched his head shyly. This is the first time he has met someone who is so supportive of his planting business. For Chen Zun, what Su Lin did is not just as simple as saving his life. After coming to the survival farm, in addition to the greatest guarantee in life, more importantly, Chen Zun's dream has also received such comprehensive support for the first time. So for Chen Zun, Su Lin is no longer just a lifesaver. I'm afraid that reborn parents are not so important. Even if Su Lin asked Chen Zun to plant a long extinct ancient king flower, I'm afraid Chen Zun must find a way to grow it, whether he lives or dies. After getting the kohlrabi, Su Lin also rode on the motocross motorcycle and rushed towards Chunfeng City. I can only say that everything is coming slowly. First collect information about the holographic projection. As for the world champion's finger, it's a universal material at most. Who has a brain pumping and would run all the way to the beautiful country to look for the unknown life or death stranger like looking for a needle in a haystack. Only a fool would do that. Soon, Su Lin arrived in Chunfeng City. For some reason, Su Lin had an illusion. Perhaps after yesterday's human-insect war, the whole Chunfeng City gave him a weird feeling. This weird is a compliment. An unprecedented unity feeling enveloped Chunfeng City. Even those thugs who were too scattered and did not participate in the defense battle also had a more harmonious feeling. At least there won't be the same ferocious and evil feeling as before. Maybe these thugs finally figured it out. No matter what kind of disaster happened, standing in front of them are all living people like them. Fists, or force, are used on enemies, not on their own people. Surrounded by this feeling, Su Lin couldn't help but shrugged. He didn't know how long this feeling of goodness would last. Maybe until the next time the supplies were eaten up. He knew human nature. This can only be said to be a kind of wisdom after a disaster, or a kind of fear. But people, although their memory is not as exaggerated as that of goldfish, only 7 seconds, what humans are least capable of is learning lessons from history. The mistakes that have been made will only repeat again and again. And this is what is called human. On the way, many people who participated in yesterday's battle also found Su Lin. This is nonsense. Who can ride such a cool off-road motorcycle? Su Lin, Su Lin, Su Lin, Su Lin, Su Lin, Su Lin. Obviously, the enthusiasm of the crowd has not yet dissipated. After seeing Su Lin appear, they all cheered and cheered for their hero. Su Lin had to show an extremely awkward smile, scratching the back of his head shyly, and signaled that he was in a hurry and didn't want to block the road. But the enthusiasm of the crowd, how could it be so easy to dissipate? And he also came to the base of human glory under the crowd of the crowd. Originally, the guards of the building were a little nervous when they saw so many people coming, thinking that some enemy had attacked again. But when they saw that the leader, the person surrounded in the center, was an old acquaintance Su Lin, they also relaxed and joked. Su Lin, are you here? Our big sister is not here today. It's not that there is no other way. Let me in first. These people are so enthusiastic. Hahaha, who told you to be a hero, right? The guard joked, and at the same time, began to help Su Lin out. Obviously, human glory still has some face. Whether it is the battle yesterday, or the reputation accumulated in Chunfeng City in the past. It's like eating the face fruit. As long as it is still in Chunfeng City, it has to give human glory a face. Of course, these people don't want to do anything to Su Lin. They just want to express the most sincere gratitude in their hearts. But in the end, they couldn't control their excitement, and were too excited. The crowd finally dispersed. Su Lin finally breathed a sigh of relief, and walked slowly into the building. He is already an old acquaintance of human glory, and he is considered half a non-staff member. Liang Crossing himself did not hide the fact that Su Lin provided the supplies. So the entire human glory, from top to bottom, is grateful to Su Lin. Of course, they also know that this Su Lin is very close to their big sister Liang Crossing. Before Su Lin walked into the house, Lida had already walked out. I thought who it was. There was a commotion outside, but only you can cause such a commotion. Lida glanced at Su Lin, and his mouth twitched subconsciously. Why are you here again? What? Don't you welcome me? Su Lin rolled his eyes. It's not a matter of whether you are welcome or not. The problem is, when have you come here with a good body? Don't you always come to me with scars? Do you think I really want to see you like this? Hahaha. Su Lin scratched the back of his head. It seems that this is what Lida meant. No, I'm not injured this time. I just want to find out some information from you. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 223, The Explosive Development of Glory of Humanity. Oh, news? Well, if you want to know some information, what would be your first reaction if I said holographic projection? In order to avoid looking around like a headless fly, Su Lin also decided to mobilize the power of his allies. At least he could get the corresponding information with their help. Holographic projection? Projector? We just happen to have several here. What? Do you want it? Let me take a look first. By the way, how did you get the projector? I followed the boss to the mall to search for it before. Lida shrugged. By the way. Su Lin looked around and said, your base is getting more and more flavorful. Sofas, benches, and tables and chairs can be seen everywhere. At least, as far as the eye can see, the entire base is arranged in an orderly manner, and more importantly, it is clean. Yes, it is clean. Cleanliness and hygiene are very important. It can even be said to be ranked after food and water sources. If any party has solved the food and water resources, but does not pay attention to hygiene and cleanliness, it will be a big deal. So many people live together. Everything is together. They eat, drink, defecate and urinate together. If this aspect is not handled properly, it will only produce a kind of thing that no one dares to face. Infectious diseases. Finally, I have survived the difficulties of hunger and thirst. If I fall to the ground and can't get up at the level of infectious diseases, it will inevitably be a joke. What do you feel? Li Da also joked. What feeling? Su Lin asked back. It's how you feel about this base. I have also been to your farm. Of course, it can't compare with your farm, but I can guarantee that in the entire Chunfeng city, there is no salvation organization that can be so well organized and clean. Su Lin nodded. He also agreed. Let's not talk about Chunfeng city. He has also been to other cities. No matter which place it is, such as the Vulcan Fortress, the Thunder Eagle Kingdom, and even the Superpower Alliance. These organizations, these places, are all not as neat and orderly as the human glory. Haha, I can only say that our boss is really attentive in this regard. Yeah, by the way, where is your boss's Liang Crossing? She went out, took a few followers, and went to other cities to check the tracks of giant insects. TSK. She is really worthy of her. The war has just ended, and she doesn't even think about resting. She has been working so quickly. Li Da also nodded in agreement. After all, he is the second in command of human glory, and he knows Liang Crossing's personality very well, and also knows her workload. Even a big man like him would be exhausted to do these jobs. But for some reason, this Liang Crossing seems to have taken hormones. No matter how difficult or complicated the work is, she can complete it perfectly, and even on time. Once the work is completed, she can immediately devote herself to the next job tirelessly. I'm afraid she is made of iron. What Li Da admires even more is Liang Crossing's enthusiasm, which is exaggerated and a little too enthusiastic. God knows where Liang Crossing's enthusiasm comes from. Okay, that's all. Li Da picked up the device on the ground and handed it to Su Lin. Take a look and see if it's this. Yeah. Su Lin took the black projector in front of him. However, the expected system prompt did not come as expected. The prompt he expected, "Congratulations on obtaining a certain material," did not sound. It seems that this projector is not the so-called holographic projection. Afterwards, Su Lin also tried it. Even if he turned on the projector directly and projected the program on the wall, he did not get the so-called material. It doesn't seem to be this, by the way. What exactly is the holographic projection you mentioned? Li Da looked at Su Lin, who was busy, and asked in confusion. Yeah, it means literally. Su Lin didn't know how to explain it for a while. Then have you watched too many science fiction movies? Li Da asked back. Huh? What do you mean? The real holographic projection is the kind of 3D projection that can project a person's portrait or a graphic like a hologram, and it also has a taste and can be truly felt. Li Da explained. I have done research on this aspect before. Anyway, at this stage, there is no real 3D holographic projection at all. The technology is not mature enough. I don't know where you got this term from. Maybe you have watched too many science fiction movies? In short, the kind of holographic projection in the movie does not exist at all because the technology is not mature enough. Li Da said with regret. Huh? Really? Or else? Li Da shrugged. Although he didn't know why Su Lin wanted to find the so-called holographic projection, but he still adhered to the mentality of helping if he could and told everything he knew. Okay then, Su Lin pursed his lips. Speaking of which, he also recalled that basically, the term of holographic projection was only seen in science fiction movies. In reality, it seems that there really is nothing. I'm afraid that's all I can think of. Su Lin frowned. If there is nothing, then he can only rely on the universal material. But the universal material can only be used once. I don't know what you are worried about. Li Da shrugged, but you don't plan to pay attention to those people on our side, who are full of admiration for you? Huh? Su Lin's thoughts were interrupted, and he looked at Li Da in surprise, not knowing what he meant. Following the direction of Li Da's finger, he also realized it. Sure enough, in the direction next to them, there were several people staring at them. Who are they? The newcomers are all superpowers. Li Da smiled. In the current situation, superpowers can be called hotcakes. They are the hotcakes pursued by various salvation organizations or other people. There is no need to say anything, just look at the probability of superpowers being generated to know how hot they are. Even if they eat mutated food, the chance of being able to survive and become a superpower is probably not 1 in 100, but 1%. The other 99% either suffer from vomiting and diarrhea or mutate and die. Not bad? Su Lin raised his eyebrows. It's getting more and more lively now. Yeah. Li Dan nodded. There is also a superpower who can teleport to someone. There is also a superpower who can control gravity. Right, there is another one who can control. Huh. Su Lin frowned and stared at Li Dan. Teleport to someone. Chapter 224 New Hope. Yeah. Li Dan nodded. What? Are you interested? Want to go find our boss? Go away. Su Lin waved his hands. It was already this time, and he was still joking. Where is that person? Can you introduce me to him? I just want to ask him for something. If it is really possible to teleport to someone, then maybe there is a way to get the materials this time. Xiaobei, come here. Li Dan waved his hand in that direction. The girl called Xiaobei showed an excited expression on her face when she realized that Li Dan was calling her. At the same time, several people next to her also cast envious expressions at her. After realizing the envy, Li Dan smiled helplessly. Forget it. Come here. Those who want Su Lin's autograph, come here. Bah. Su Lin glanced at Li Dan. It's already this hour, and you're still asking for autographs. Then, he looked at the new psychics who were walking towards him. Hello everyone, I'm Su Lin. Welcome to join Glory of Humanity. I can barely be considered a friend of your boss. Wow, it's really Su Lin, yeah, so handsome. Su Lin. Thank you for defeating the giant insect and saving humanity. Seeing that the psychics in front of him were all his fans, Su Lin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He had to quickly say, that's enough. These past 2 days, I have always spent my time in such admiring eyes. I can't say it's just a piece of cake. After all, my life was on the line. Anyway, I'm just protecting my home. At the same time, I also hope that you can protect the weak and save us humans. Okay Su Lin. Su Lin's reputation has spread completely. Even if you say a few words to Su Lin, it seems to have become enough capital to show off. He is a big celebrity. Okay. Li Dan waved his hand. Why don't you admire me? If it weren't for me, the casualty rate of this war would be scary. Li Dan curled his lips slightly. He was obviously a little disappointed. As a logistics doctor, he can only be a behind-the-scenes hero after all, but he has a strong ability to adjust himself, and before others can think of words to comfort him, he himself has returned to normal. Looking at the girl called Xiaobei, Su Lin wants to ask you something, and it seems that he needs your help. If you can, please help. Xiaobei is a little girl about 13 or 14 years old. It is really hard to believe that at such a time, there can still be such a young girl with such tender and innocent eyes. In her deep pupils, it seems that the most precious and scarce innocence of human beings is hidden. Brother Su Lin, what do you want to ask me? Xiaobei asked with blinking eyes. Su Lin took a half step back and pressed his heart exaggeratedly. How could there be such an innocent and cute little girl? Damn Li Dan, where did you find such a little lolly? Go away. Li Dan rolled his eyes. Ask what you want to ask quickly. Don't waste time. Okay. Xiaobei, can you tell me what your special ability is? Su Lin asked directly. What Li Dan himself did not expect was this Xiaobei really told everything directly. Generally speaking, the superpowers of superpowers are all secrets. What exactly is going on, how to use it, and what are the restrictions? Basically, only the superpowers themselves know. After all, superpowers are the foundation of their existence. Such a major secret will naturally not be told, at least not to strangers. But I didn't expect that Xiaobei would tell so much detail and so carefully. Even Li Dan, the second in command, didn't know. Damn. Li Dan couldn't help but roll his eyes and mutter to himself, what kind of charm does this Su Lin have? Our boss has been a little fascinated by him. Now Xiaobei, this little sister, is so envious. Ha. After listening to what Xiaobei said, Su Lin couldn't help but let out a hearty and proud laugh. Because Xiaobei's superpowers just met all his imaginations. As long as Xiaobei has seen someone, he can directly teleport the other person to a safe location within 10 meters of him. Moreover, the person who was teleported can freely choose the opportunity to return to Xiao Bei. The decision must be made within 12 hours. Once this time is missed, this ability cannot be activated. In other words, if the person who was teleported wants to come back, he can only come back by himself. And the so-called seeing, even if he has seen a photo, it is no problem. In other words, leader, do you have a computer here? Yes. What's the matter? Borrow it. Hey. Su Lin grinned and quickly found the photo of the world champion through the computer network. Peter. Speaking of Xiao Bei's ability, it is very similar to the space ability user I have seen before. They are all the same space teleportation type of abilities. It's just that Xiao Bei can't teleport himself. And there are only 3 teleportation opportunities every day. Come on, Xiao Bei, this is the person. Su Lin pointed to the photo of the world champion Peter on the computer screen. Can you help me teleport to him? Let me feel it first. Xiao Bei squinted his eyes, and his expression seemed to be really thinking about something. Soon, she also looked at Su Lin. Brother Su Lin, this man named Peter is in the United States. Are you sure you want to go there? Yes, I just want to take advantage of your opportunity to go to a foreign country. Sure, but if you want to come back, you must do so within 12 hours. Just think about coming back to me in your mind. Xiao Bei said sincerely. No matter what, she didn't want Su Lin to miss these 12 hours. If this is the case, and there are no such things as flights now, I'm afraid I will never see Su Lin again. No. Su Lin waved his hand. I will definitely come back. Even if things are not settled, I will definitely come back. Anyway, I have to stay on the farm at night. Su Lin? Lida frowned and asked in surprise. Why are you going to the United States? To find the ghost called something? Lida frowned and looked at the detailed introduction of Peter on the computer. World Boomerang Champion. Why are you looking for him? Secret. I just want to borrow his finger. You're crazy. Then be careful and remember to come back. Otherwise it will be like last time and our boss will have to guard the door for you. Okay. I will definitely come back. Don't worry, then. Come on. Xiao Bei, take me to the beautiful country. Yeah. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.